It's okay. BNK VFX on the blue side up against KT on red. And the Yone already taken away from BDD. The Gwen going to be removed from Perfect. I think the Rumble is going to need a look in. Of course, would have been definitely very, very high on the priority list if it was clear playing, but it is still Sobero in here. And
Yeah,
let's
we did
see
get
where
that
this is going to be.
kind of. You know what? It was a no. This sounds negative when I say it, but it was like a Challengers Olaf game where you see some crazy shenanigans. It's really cool. Didn't quite work out in the late game, but it was, you know, Sobero. That's the sort of thing we get from Challengers, you know. And he came in with some creative ideas, didn't quite pan out. I'm interested to see what else he's been cooking up. Taliyah will be banned away. This suggests a high priority on that Azir. You do not want to give Azir over to BDD, especially with the Taliyah gone. So they won't ban it. They will ban the Pantheon.
And they are challenging Daystar to just pick Azir, and he won't. They'll pick the Rumble.
Well, then they can just go Azir Zinzao for KT.
Do you think that that is a relatively strong pair of champions? Does Cuz actually pick Wukong instead? Because his Wukong has been so good.
Yeah, maybe it's an option. We've definitely seen Zinzao went from like, we are slamming it all the time to...
Consideration pick, yeah.
Yeah, you know, Pantheon overtook it. Wukong's starting to gain some ground, a lot of value in those team fights and those 5v5s. And giving over Wukong Rumble doesn't feel fun. They actually will prioritize the Nidalee. Big pick for Cuz in the jungle.
Certainly is. Does mean that the Azir becomes less of a
Nidalee
option.
Corki? We do see this a lot.
And BDD loves playing Corki. It was the first one to find success on it actually here in the LCK this season. But instead, they're just going to do it. This combo of champions just really doesn't make you feel anything good. But they're both strong. You know what? I think those two champions are two of the most LCK champions of all time. Yep, I would agree.
And now over to the side of BNK VFX.
You know what's interesting? One of them is Faker's debut champion, and the other one is Faker's most played champion.
There you go.
That might have something to do with it feeling LCK.
Yeah. Looking at the Varus, I think makes a lot of sense when you're dealing with this long-range poke from the side. You have the ult for some good setup as well. And leaning towards the Ahri, no real look towards the junglers, but there is like Zinzao and Wukong available. So maybe thinking we can pick something up at the second rotation. Yes. And we did hear Daystar just say Taliyah and Ahri are his sort of champs.
We did.
And they did ban Taliyah, so Ahri he will pick up in that situation.
So we're going to say that he is on some comfort.
Yeah.
We can also say that BDD is probably on some comfort as well. Yeah. That's a lot of games that he's got under his belt on the Azir.
You just
lock in Leona or Jace or something?
Because you need AD on your top side. You got a bit too much AP already. Jace, we see, picked a lot into the Rumble, played at range. We've seen the Rumble doing a bit better in that matchup recently, but definitely still very playable for the Jace. A lot of poke from KT so far.
Yeah.
A lot of long-range poke. And if I'm KT, I'm like, okay, the enemy team, a lot of setup, a lot of dive. Oh, Wukong would fit with that really well. I'd probably get rid of that. I think the Zinzao is worth a ban too. They get rid of the Zinzao first. I think Wukong's second ban makes a ton of sense to me. On the other side, probably just looking to target those 80 carries a little bit. They take away the Alistair. We've seen that a lot on...
I was thinking that the Poppy for Peter would also be really powerful.
Oh, actually, that's a shout. We actually haven't seen her looking at the Nico either, and we often see Peter just spec bans given over to that Nico. So maybe it is more of a support-leaning ban phase.
Well, I mean, they kind of want to ban Jhin as well. Like, if KT get Jhin, they're also very happy. There's no way for them to pick the Jhin away or anything like that. It does feel like there's just too many things to ban. The Wukong going to be taken away as well. We've seen it really launch in priority. As there is the Leona taken away. Leona often paired alongside the Nidalee. So now it could be Poppy, it could be Nico, it could be a lot of different things here for Peter, or they could just lock in the Jhin and let Peter counterpick.
Yeah, I think just take 80 carry here and then keep support till later. I think Jhin tends to be what people would go in this situation, especially there's so much setup for the W as well with the Shock Blast, with the Spears. So we'll lock that one in. This is very long range artillery sort of composition from KT, and for BNK VFX, you want to engage. You want to get in on the enemy team and be able to lock them down. That is going to be your MO.
Oh, a bit more single target focus, but Kellen, thinking about the Nautilus here.
I think this makes sense with the perspective of Poppy being open.
Yeah.
Because Nautilus does pretty decent into Poppy as far as engaged sports go. And at the end of the day, you have an Ahri, you get that reset, you get that momentum. You should be able to push forwards. Now for Raptor, I mean, the Fairy's open and available.
Viego.
you need like an AD jungler because you have double AP solo laners.
Yeah, right.
You could go in theory Viego, but we haven't seen him have too much success so far. So they will go
It's
for
the
that
in theory Neferi.
And look at the rel. I think that's fine. I think the Poppy, if they'd gone in a different direction in terms of those supports, maybe if there was like a Rakan pickup, then Poppy would have made more sense. But I think rel pretty good into Nautilus. We saw that have success earlier today.
It allows you to move a little bit faster as well with this composition, whereas otherwise it would be only kite back all the time. And that isn't necessarily what KT wants to be doing the whole time. So giving themselves an engage option does make some sense there. And so will be the rel locked in. I do feel like KT kind of got exactly what they wanted. It's a little bit janky as far as the mid jungle is concerned, but I believe that Cuz is going to be able to do just fine. And oftentimes we see the best Nidalee players don't actually play for any sort of laning situation. They just play to make sure their opponent cannot take their jungle.
Yep. And I feel like, you know, signature champs for the mid jungle on KT, they have this long range artillery sort of composition here. Whereas being VFX, their composition is like, we want to engage, we want to brawl, we want to fight. And I think that's at least something they've done well, is they've ensured they have the tools to try and close the distance on this enemy composition, which they're going to need to do. If they start to fall behind, though, if the Ahri of the Neferi start to struggle, I could see them really struggling in this game.
Yep, I could see that one as well. Man, I'm really interested in seeing how Daystar is going to perform, how this team is going to change with a different mid laner, because we were asking them to experiment as, is that a Digimon fusion dance? And Wolf's not here again? Oh, it's so unfair, isn't it? He always gets so upset because it's always Digimon references.
And he would always say, he'd know which ones it is, he'd know all the
yeah.
We're clueless.
I know, I think it was a Greymon or something like that. I don't really know, though. I was more of a Pokemon kid. As it was Patimon and Agumon. What? I don't know. Let's just get onto the Rift.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Ah, it was Poppymon. My bad. I know that I've just made Wolf even more upset by like butchering the names that G-Sun's trying to tell me. As Sobero is having a sobering experience as he flashes over the wall and is now going to be down a flash against a Jace.
Not a good start, ultimately. Not how you'd hope the level one to go, but a nice cheeky move from KT to find that advantage.
Are we going to call G-Sun out, by the way, for not remembering the Zeka moment?
I think we should.
Because it was very funny. When he didn't realize that you could, like, choose which champion to ult on as Yasuo.
He had an interview with Ashley Kang afterwards, and she was like, why do you keep ulting the Heimerdinger? Because everyone was confused, and he was like, oh, I didn't know you could click, like, I thought you just pressed R when they got knocked up, and it just, you know,
did something.
This was after he'd won Worlds as well.
Yes.
He was a world champion. And the thing is, when you think of Zeka, if Zeka said, well, I didn't know this mechanic about Xerath, you'd be like, you know, fair play.
Yeah.
But Yasuo?
Yeah. No, you best believe that he's played a bunch of Yasuo.
Yeah, so very funny. And
classic.
Yeah, got brought up earlier today, and G-Sun didn't remember it.
And there are just a lot of things to know in League of Legends. That's why we were talking about the QSS and Mordekaiser earlier on as well. It used to be that it was a pretty good item, and now not as much. As okay, Dr. Peter up against the Varus Nautilus here of Diablo and Kellen. It is still going to be, even though it is the Comet variety of the Varus, it is, yeah, so it's still going to be the Poke Varus, even though it's with Nautilus, which we often see often gauged towards more of the on-hit.
I feel like it feels pretty bad in lane, because although like the Poke Varus has a lot of, you know, ability to poke in lane with the Comet, in those extended fights and those all-ins, it feels a lot worse when you don't have lethal tempo to stack up. But I think it makes sense in this game when the enemy team is just so long-ranged.
Yeah, well,
and pretty squishy apart from the rel.
We're just trading aftershocks. I thought that there was going to be like something that was happening, but it didn't actually happen. So it's fine. Looks like all is calm around the Rift. The main thing that we're going to be looking for in the early game is where Cuz is going to be, what he's going to be able to deny, how difficult Raptor's life is going to be based on where Cuz is going. And also, this flash being missing on the top side of the map, will it be early gank situation for the Nidalee?
I mean, it's kind of hard because unless Saburo is like really pushed up, it's like a Jace. You don't have that much setup.
I mean, there's zero setup anywhere outside of bottom lane.
It's to the skies slow.
Yeah.
And like mid lane, it's like you can do the after 6, you can do like the shuffle into a spear, which is ambitious at best, especially since Ahri will then be level 6.
Yeah. And Cuz actually going to get daggered here momentarily. It's cats and dogs here in the river, which is pretty cool. Used to be we needed Rengar versus Nasus for that.
Yeah, which isn't a jungle matchup we've really seen that much recently.
No. So now at least we've got Nefiri and Nidalee. Daystar is struggling.
Yeah, did get BDD low on mana, but running low on the health department. Now looking for this bot side scuttle. Raptor's smite advantage, so this should be just his. Yeah.
And Cuz, in fact, not even going to worry about it. We're just going for some resets. Some resets also happening here towards the bottom side of the map as well. Diablo looking to push this one up. I'm a little bit sad that it's not on hit Varus. I feel like Diablo's hands are just so incredibly good that the way he kites on hit Varus is like a better utilization of his skills. But you could imagine why they're going for more of the on-hit variety, given the range advantages and things like this of KAT's composition. Still just makes me a bit.
I think that's the thing why Varus is still prioritized a lot as the early pick, because he does have that flexibility and you can just sort of switch up. I think there's some sustained damage auto attackers who you're like, oh, well, this does not feel good to play into. But Varus, you have those options. And sometimes we've definitely seen our players get it wrong.
Yeah.
But this feels like he made the right call. And a lot of the time, he'll just be following up, you know. CC set up from Daystar Kel, and his job is just to fire an arrow across that.
Ooh, cheeky little control ward here. We're going to call that Jeff.
You know what? Jeff is in the old school control ward position. Back when it was a pink ward, you'd buy one early, you'd go slam one down there, and it'd still be there until 40 minutes into the game.
It was fantastic. You always knew when your opposition was taking red.
And then people learned about it, and they started clearing it. And you have to be a little bit more inventive, but that's how it cycles round.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, so like as soon as like it's being done all the time, that's when you don't bother with it. But Peter has successfully identified that the timing is up, and he's going to get Jeff back in that brush. Perfect and Sobro doing battle. Perfect is just walking at the Rumble here. And
Sobro
misses the empowered shock blast. And there's an equal.
Well,
there's an equal.
Oh, no. This is why it's called the Equalizer, because Perfect doesn't have like a true ultimate ability.
Got it. That equalized the playing field as Peter going down very low, but so is Kellen. He finds the hook though. Doctom will be able to answer the kill, and he flashes away Diablo. He's not going to go after him. Doesn't have a flash of his own, and so the Jhin makes it out, but it's a 1-for-1.
Imagine if they had Equalizer right now.
He's only young.
I know. It was
that
unfortunate.
Was comically not in the right spot though.
Yeah. You know, if he just went in the complete other direction, he would have got it. But all lane comes into the bot lane, all summoners burned, and it ends up being an even trade, but unfortunately, it's Doctom gets the kill on Diablo who doesn't, so a little bit unfortunate there. Now looking for the scuttle.
Oh, let's see who's going to win the battle. It is going to be Raptor that locks that one down, goes untargetable to avoid the stun from Peter is perfect. We're going to make his way over. Sobro still without an equalizer, but they do have a Doggo making his way, and he gets booped back though, as Perfect is able to answer.
That you just couldn't look at that play and not think, imagine if he hadn't equalized.
No, but it's been equalized.
Yes.
Went over this already.
Yes, it's just fair.
Imagine if Perfect had equalizer. That would be overpowered.
That would be unfair. So, you know, it's an honorable move.
Yeah.
It's like, look, neither has equalizer.
Well, now it's dogs, foxes, and pigeons in this mid lane. BDD feeling a little bit outnumbered and otherwise not too perturbed.
Yeah, unfortunately Charm doesn't connect. Could have been some pressure there, but BDD seemed ready. Did have flash available, did have E if he needed it, so able to walk that one out. But a lot of scrapping it feels so far in this game. Both teams kind of prodding and poking and seeing what they could find.
Yep. This is a little fist emoji.
Someone fist bumped him.
Yeah, we need a... Okay, well, there it is. That's BDD's attempt at a fist bump. And Kellen, he came over looking for a fist bump, and he instead just got murdered.
You know, no one fist bumped him, so he was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to be.
Have you? I don't think that's never happened to me where I walk up to like a group of people, I'm like, hey guys, how's it going? Hold out my fist for a fist bump, and then they just kill me. I've never had that once, like just get punched in the face.
Yeah, that'd be messed up.
That must have been
But I will
bit of
say, like,
whiplash
to
there
the
for
rest
Kellen.
of BNK FearX, like, when someone fist bumps and you don't, it says in the chat, it's like, BFX Kellen is looking for a fist bump. Will you fist bump him? Please. Like,
BDD's like, yeah, bro.
the rest
And
of
then
his team are
killed.
like, you're on your own. You're on your own. That's messed up, you know?
It is.
Because sometimes deaths in League of Legends, especially for sports, don't mean that much. That one just, on an emotional level, I think, hit.
That meant a lot.
Yeah.
Especially when his close friend is on the other team. Of course, Dr. wasn't there, but he had killed him previously. And so it's just Kellen really not having a very good time. Kellen did play with BDD, of course, back in the day on Gen G, but of course it was more recently that Kellen and Dr. were together. As Cuz is hunting here in the jungle. It's just going to take away his Grump. You might think that it's the enemy Grump, but it's his Grump. This is not Nidalee though, as we can see a little bit of counter jungling from Raptor.
You know what? I've actually been thinking about it more.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm going to hold back because I'm going to look for a dive here. That's a good equalizer.
Yeah, that one's going to land onto BDD. BDD going to try and get out of the way. Diablo, though, doesn't find a great chance of corruption, but BDD is still going to get cut down. Reset's starting to come in here for Raptor as the bullet time is... Sorry, the curtain call does come on through. Oh, goodness me. Sobro takes the last one, blocks it for Kellen there very nicely.
That's a team player right there.
Absolutely is. And Daystar, not a team player, but is actually able to grab some plates here towards the top side. KT looking for a little bit more. Evening out the kill score, though, are BNK FearX, and they get themselves a gold lead.
Yeah, a lot of times we see teams struggle and mess up when playing into a Jhin, overcommit, not able to get out, but they managed to dip away from that one. And look, here's my theory, okay? So this was a great equalizer.
Got it.
And you know how a lot of top laners like to change their settings,
Yeah.
right? For the equalizer.
Oh, he took off quick cast?
Well, he might have not had it on, because, you know, when it's the last... Subaru has not been in the LCK very long. He might have not had the setting ready, or maybe this is his first Rumble game in a while, so that's why his first equalizer completely whiffed, and then this one was perfect. That's my theory. Is it correct?
I don't know, but it makes him look better.
Exactly.
So I'm ready
That's what we're here for, you know?
Yep, I'm about that one as well.
We've all been there when the settings are wrong, and, you know...
I mean, I can have the settings right, and my equalizers can look like that. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, we'll have to do, because if the next equalizer is also great, we know it was a settings issue.
Yeah, he sorted it out.
Oh.
Kellen is flashing in, guys. Perfect is flashing out, but that's a max range hook, and that means the Perfect will be dead. That's 4 people in the bottom lane. They really do not want Perfect playing the game.
Yeah, a second ago was 5, and easy trick. You just press R on Nautilus, and Perfect disappears.
Yeah, and he thought that he could flash to create the distance, but man, the anchor range. Absolutely beautiful. And KT kind of fumbling here just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if I saw this sort of play happening as a KT fan, I'd feel pretty angry at anyone who said the E word prior to the start of the
Yeah, I know. Wouldn't it be frustrating if someone had have said excited at some point?
Yeah. Oh, that was another
during
good
this
equalizer.
broadcast? Yeah.
Okay.
Got rid of it. I mean, it was an equalizer.
No, but he got on both of them. He cleared the wave.
Yeah.
Head cannon, it was the settings.
Yeah.
That's what I'm choosing to believe.
Yeah, we're going with settings. I think that's always the better way to do it. Benefit of the doubt is what our players deserve. BNK FearX going to get themselves some feats of strength. So some
but no
strong
one.
shoot.
It does that thing again. We haven't had it happen often, but no one has boots, like tier 2 boots.
Yeah.
So it comes up and you're like, and then you don't see the little pop-up. So you're like, oh.
It's a bit of a shame. However, when they do start buying them, they will look cooler.
Yeah,
that's great. Hoping that Diablo goes for the mega broken Swifties.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
They are pretty good. Peter and BDD hanging out here towards the top side. And I don't think if you're a KT fan, I mean, if you're a KT fan, you should probably be worried, but mainly for different reasons. In this game, KT are still doing fine, right? 1.5K, it's nothing really to worry about. They have a composition that's pretty happy to play around the margins. And they can set up for these objectives still with the composition that they have. But, you know, the Nidalee not exactly doing what it's supposed to be doing for this stage of the game. We'll have to see whether Cuz can step it up as the game goes on. That's all right. Chains of Corruption just going to hit onto Dr. That's
so
what happened. Ow.
Okay, it's fine. I was gonna say, Diablo used to change his corruption when he didn't have either his Q or E available to proc the Blight.
Yes.
But then his Q came up and he just hits those. So he just hits those.
Yeah, he did.
You know, you were saying something about you were sad it wasn't the on-hit Varus because you wanted to see the display of mechanics from Diablo.
Well, Diablo's got my back.
Yeah, we're getting some display of mechanics right now.
I've seen some mechanics. Mechanics have happened. They've been displayed, and they're looking good. And that does give Diablo some time with this turret. Might be some plate money going over to this Varus as well. As you can see, it absolutely is, despite the fact that KT are the team that did take away all of the grubs. Because will he be able to get in here and try and challenge for this second dragon? The first one did go over to BNK FearX.
That's one nice thing about the Neferi into the Nidalee is that you can't just block the spears with the...
Yeah, the doggos do make the spears.
Not the hot dogs, though. It's
difficult.
not the hot dog skin. So...
Oh, Sobero. Shock Blast going to come on through. Sobero gives away his position relatively quickly. Doctarm in a little bit of trouble. Needs to be in a good position to get this curtain call to work. Primal Surge, though, helping him out. Because with that little bit of healing, it's going to be working out here as the engage onto Kellen isn't super optimal, as now Peter looking for an angle. That equalizer was fantastic. It was the settings. It was 100% the settings. As Peter looking to get himself out of there. The Magnus Storm is the answer here, as Raptor does go untargetable because it's still looking for spears. And then the curtains get called. Daystar needs to flash to get out of the way of that one, as PDD dealing with these hails of arrows. And no one's dead on either side, but everyone's health bar is basically gone.
A lot of low health bars, trying to get some recalls in here.
They're all on wards. They're all on wards. As he gets out, that was absurd.
Oh, so close, but it does mean pressure given up, so BNK FearX will get the dragon.
Yep, Cuz still looking to make his way in here.
BDD flying, he's still his ult, by the way. A lot of ults down, but his still available. Kellen's is as well. Those are the two tools we're looking at. It looks like BNK FearX will back off.
Infernal this game as well, but still two Drakes in the lead for BNK. Very happy to see that fiery dragon be the one represented, only 2 away from getting that soul, which is so powerful. Let's see it once again, as we're getting a replay of pretty much nothing.
That equalizer was huge. The charm on a Doctarm, he gets really chunked out. Both Sobero and Daystar, I feel like, really doing so much in this fight to force KT away. And then they end up disengaging. Doctarm finds an angle to ult, but his only good target is the Ahri, who does have flash.
Yep.
So being that, you know, you'll take it, but not really able to do much more in the fight. And it really felt like BNK FearX had all the pressure there.
It is going to be traded for a Rift Herald, so that does go over to KT. And now Sobero, once again, putting the pressure onto Perfect. Ghost Blades looking for a little bit of an option here, as Sobero does make his way back towards the lane. But man, this guy's Rumble is looking very, very good.
Finding some good angles. Constantly looking to challenge the Jace, and so far, the top lane's been going good. We've seen Daystar, he had some rough time, a little bit of a rough time in lane, but he's been doing fine since Diablo's been taken over in the Varus. This is a really positive look for BNK FearX. This is their last chance match.
Yeah.
They lose this, they lose out on both Legend Group and Road to MSI qualifications, and they chose a good time to lock in.
Certainly now or never, as that one doesn't manage to land, but Diablo not hit by the Deadly Flourish either.
Deadly
That's
Flourish,
the most important part.
If it hit, that would have been a kiss.
That would have been a mega caster curse.
Yeah.
And I would have to start taking responsibility for getting excited about KT and stuff like that. But thankfully, you know, Chronicler's way of thinking still stands. It was not a caster curse, and therefore the previous one wasn't a caster curse either.
Yeah. That totally checks out.
Yeah. I'm still fine. No one knows my cunning ruse.
Yeah.
It's all right. Diablo will be able to clear out that wave. Raptor looking for some options here. As KT certainly feeling like their backs are to the wall.
But I think in the last couple of minutes, like, it's weird, but you can definitely feel KT putting up a bit more resistance.
Yeah.
You know, trying to find some angles, trying to find some challenges, trying to find the Varus, getting some poke back. And in some of these neutral states, when BNK FearX aren't doing anything, there is windows where KT, they land a spear here, you know, a shock blast there, and suddenly can turn into something more. So even though they are at a disadvantage, definitely doesn't feel like all hope's gone out the window. They do still have that Herald in pocket as well.
Yep, could break open some of these turrets at the same time. Haven't been able to get any of those just yet. In fact, everything outside of the top side outer turret are very healthy. The amount of control that BNK FearX have had on these lanes has been pretty ridiculous. Captive audience here from Doctor just to try and help clear out the wave. It is going to allow him to do so, but they just don't have the priority. Okay. Just need to see something from KT. As I say it, BDD goes in, finds the flash. They separate Kellen, who looks to get himself out of the way, and now Diablo having to play DDR at the same time. He takes down the Nautilus, but BDD is sacrificed, and it's a double kill for Raptor. Cuz having to flash away is Doctom. Nothing he can do either, and the answer from BNK FearX was amazing.
Kellen knows his job. Kill someone, one person, just ult one person. Daystar will do the rest. The team comes in, the resets are there. They are looking for Silvero, but he's pretty confident he can turn this around and does have to back away.
Raptor waiting in the wings. Deadly Flourish sidestepped beautifully there by Diablo.
I feel like there's a feeling of deja vu, because I think Diablo, we've seen him sidestep a Flourish like that like 4 times this game.
Well, Perfect is going to go in, and Sobero is going to go out. Raptor's going to go in, and Perfect is going to go out. Cuz almost goes in, and they both go out.
A little bit of hokey pokey by the Dragon Pit.
Yeah. Right? And that's
Someone
what it's all about.
Shake it all about.
Yeah, shake it all about. That's what they have to do.
Yeah. We'll see the replay. So yeah, Kellen's caught out here. The wall gun behind him means he can't really dredge line out, although obviously he was on cooldown there. But then he ults BDD. The ult comes in from Diablo, and that's enough. BDD, the charm is connected by Daystar. Once the resets start coming in, it is all in BNK FearX's favor on this one. Because cheekily grabs the Raptor before leaving.
Of course
in front of Raptor.
He knows his priorities.
Yeah.
As 5-3, going to be the kill score here, and all of the kills for KT are Kellen. And it's meaning that, you know, there are some decent bounties being stacked up on the side of BNK FearX, but it does mean that KT's value has been much lower from the kills that they've been picking up. As Dragon has spawned here, Spears connecting towards Raptor could be meaningful. As Doctom once again standing in position. I think KT are learning that perhaps engaging onto Kellen when he face checks is not going to be the way to win a team fight.
They want to get some poke down though. Remember, Arakan also up on this side of the map, so they really want to deny this Dragon, but a one fight can mean so much.
Well, there's Shelly. As Daystar doesn't connect the charm. I was a little bit worrying there for a moment. As Shelly's just getting very confused, really wants to kill Raptor.
They recruited him as a fighter. It's 6v5.
This is kind of nutty. Not going to get a charge. Maybe not the saddest Shelly we've seen today, but that's mainly just sad for everyone because that wasn't a great Shelly. Still, it creates a lot of crazy as the max range hook once again. Equalizer, gorgeous once more. But KT do disengage. That does mean that a lot of the power here for BNK is down. Chains of Corruption and the depth charge as well as Equalizer. And so this could be a hard Dragon for them to take. Still, they are in the area. Teleport comes in from BDD as Doctom is in so much trouble. This health bar going lower and lower. I'm sorry for what I said. Diablo, you're looking absolutely phenomenal on this Lethality Varus.
You have the healing for the Nidalee, which really helps negate some of that poke coming out. And I think help to keep Doctom just healthy enough for them to go for this. So KT, they're able to secure the Dragon. It won't be a fight. Yarakan won't be taken down now. But denying that Dragon is so huge for them. Infernal Soul for either of these teams would be devastating.
Oh, yes.
There's so many long-range, like, bursty abilities that you add that extra damage on, and it's just game over.
Oh, Daystar stopping his back so he can take the pedal?
Didn't take the Cinders, though.
Oh.
Neither did Sobero there.
There's a lot of things on the ground to pick up.
You know, they're new to the LCK. Maybe they don't know the etiquette.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't know the etiquette, so don't really understand that it's very important that you pick up all the cool stuff on the ground. It's sometimes even more important than the game itself.
We will have a conversation with them later.
Yeah.
Talk about it. As far as ground clutter is concerned, though, KT do make it pretty silly with the amount of traps they're throwing everywhere and stuff like that. If there are cinders there as well and petals.
No Teemo. Maybe he thought there was a trap on top of the cinder.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe he thought there's like a Jhin trap. There's like, you know, like, have you seen like the AP Jhin videos where they stack like 30 traps?
Yeah. The speedrun Baron is always done by Jhin.
Yeah. So maybe something like that could have happened and he just didn't want to risk it. Which is a valid fear, I think, to have, even though it's not AP Jhin. Like, 5 or 6 traps would do a lot of damage.
Is this how KT loses the game? No.
Not yet.
Because Peter is going to be backing. Doctom is still desperately trying to keep his turret alive.
You know what? I love the fact we have the Rumble with the Blood Letters.
Yep.
And we have the Ahri with Malignance. both of which provide magic resist shred. It's like they're both helping each other, you know?
Doctor has done half the damage, and in goes Raptor. Out he goes once again, though, as the Deadly Flourish comes on down. Peter is just going to explode. Raptor is out of this fight for the minute, as, oh my god, that was so close. But not close enough.
I mean, it's important they did that damage to him, because if he was healthy, that's an Arakan. But Doctor making some mistakes that Peter has to pay for. It looks like they're moving down anyway to try and get control of the area.
Yeah. Still, there is so much vision in this river that KT not going to be too worried. Look at that, Cuz landing a decent spear there. Does have his arm guard now completed. He's ready to battle, as we know. Still wanting to get some return priority put together here, as KT will be able to take down these minions. And okay, we're starting it. This is going to be a lot of DPS onto this Arakan. And Raptor is making his way over. He will get the information, but look at this. They're fresh off a reset. And Raptor will be able to say what's going on, but he's just watching. That is just taken.
This is the second objective in a row where KT have been able to take it without any members on BNK VFX actually being dead. It's just straight up, we found a window, you were resetting, people were low, you didn't have the right vision control, we pick up the Arakan.
Double inner turrets would be too much to pay for it, but I don't know whether they will get double. Still, minion waves do go, and that will remain the gold advantage for BNK, and in fact extend it just a little bit. That is stats that just go over to KT that will be unanswerable.
29 petals for KT, so a good amount. Only 7 on BNK VRX. So a lot of XP, a lot of stats. I think particularly for champions like Jhin and Jace, those raw stats really go a long way. So definitely appreciating those. But it does kind of mitigate it a little bit by the raw stats that BNK VRX have from the boots.
I've seen this before. As he thought he had the sidestep, he did not. In fact, he is dead.
Kind of flashed. Decided to hold on to it.
Yeah. And Deadly Flourish does get avoided there by Diablo. That is 3 stacks of blight. If he's hit, he's dead. Yeah, there he goes. That's a solo kill.
And you know what? Sometimes you see a game where, like, you know, 180 carries.
Oh, Challenger fans in the audience there? Pretty sick.
Sometimes you see a situation where one team is winning over the other, and it's not necessarily about any particular role. It's getting like a team diff or something. This game so far, Diablo's just been diffing Duck Duck.
Oh yeah, 100%.
The way to say it. He's had his number all game long, been landing the poke, finds the kill there.
By the way, going for this is not, this is not the way.
This is crazy.
It is. A turn would be what they want, but they're taking so much damage. No one can tank Baron. And so they are just going to hit it for a bit and then leave.
Dragons up in 40 seconds, and they just spent a lot of time invested into that Baron. We'll see the replay here. Great ult. He doesn't know he knows he doesn't have cleanse. Dodges away from the Deadly Flourish again.
Beautifully done.
I just feel like every time, it's like he just sees the Deadly Flourish, he's like, I'm out of the way. Boots of Swiftness definitely helping with that one, but Boots of Swiftness...
I mean, Doctom has them too.
Much, yeah.
His aren't quite as upgraded and cool, but I don't know, man. Diablo is just pretty mechanically gifted, ladies and gentlemen. He is that guy. Doctom as well can certainly have his ups and downs. It's been mainly ups over the last few series. So let's see whether he can channel some of that for the KT fans here, as this Dragon is gone. Raptor is gone as well. As BDD just going to flash on top of him, gets the untargetable, but he does do those front flips, gets himself out of the way. Sobro now looking for the backline as Peter gonna have to crash his way out. Another fantastic equalizer, but they walk off it pretty immediately. And now Kellen finds a knock-up on everyone! Peter goes down first, then they get BDD, none of the damage, left alive! And I don't think a second Dragon was worth the lives of everyone!
That knock-up from Kellen was sick! Catches so many with the flash redirect. We've never seen it done so well.
He managed to, it went around like a snail shell.
Oh,
you know?
It was beautiful. That was
spiral.
That was a work of art, you know? And we see the fight, so they get the Dragon. And the thing is, they could have just left. But they committed to try and find Raptor. But he tries to bait out his untargetability and ends up paying for it. And then we see this ensuing play.
Okay.
Equalizer is huge, such a great angle for it. And then Kellen here, the R flash.
Oh my god.
Gets both Perfect and Cuz, and then obviously the final knock-up at the end onto BDD. Those are the 3 targets you want. Just beautifully played there by Kellen and the whole team. You know, he's the only one to have died so far. The rest of them clean KDAs. 10,000 gold now the lead. Yes, Arakan and those 2 Dragons went to the other side. But I think you were right when he said it ain't worth.
Oh no. And man, isn't it just so perfectly KT? Like, imagine if they just lose this series 0-2 after taking down HLE,
You know what?
DK, Nongshim.
Do you know who's going to be watching this series and so worried right now?
Who's that?
Gen G.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know...
Oh, I mean, they are so... I mean, it's just never going to happen, right? They're facing off against KT and Bro in the same week, and it's the last week. Their last match was against Bro. Like,
But the thing is, I think if KT went into that match in a huge win streak, I wouldn't feel as good about them. But if they lose this series, I'm worried for Gen G.
Yeah, they're straight back up there again. And they're looking like they're at least going to lose this game, ladies and gentlemen. That is great charm. Ryder's perfect, has the extra movement speed as well, so he just books it towards the enemy team. Cuz gonna die as well, and B&K looking like they can do no wrong at this stage. BDD just setting himself up underneath his Nexus, and the flash forward from Daystar, the young player, making the plays. Peter gonna be cut down where he stands, and BDD, the pigeon who could. But unfortunately in this game, he could not, as Doctarm as well relegated to his fountain. And Sobero, I don't think he's dying here. In fact, he's got some untarget ability to utilize, and that will be the end of BDD and the end of KT's Nexus, as B&K FearX come out on top in game one.
Just really well played. You know, yes, there was a couple of mishaps that happened early on, and some objectives they let KT get, which you'd obviously not ideally give them over. But in terms of the fights, in terms of the skirmishes, this was pretty clean. And I felt like, especially considering two of these players haven't been on this roster very long, it's day one for Daystar. They looked like they were fitting in pretty well. And I think they can be happy with this performance. Obviously, need to continue it across the series. But KT, we kind of thought they were the one out of them, out of Nongshim and D+, with KT's form. We were like, they're probably locked in.
They were looking really good, as well as the fact that they've already taken down Nongshim on their way through. That's going to be a very difficult, that was going to be a very difficult battle that they managed to overcome, and getting the head-to-head advantage is always really, really strong. But this performance was not. This was just not it whatsoever.
You know,
and
I wonder,
Diablo was an absolute monster.
I wonder how much of that damage he did to Doctarm, because he was just having a rough time. And sometimes we've seen Varus hit or miss a decent amount of times in the LCK. I think Diablo making it very clear you don't give it to him because he doesn't miss.
Yeah. And sometimes the power of excitement is actually too strong. I'm going to go back to believing in curses. I'm going to make sure that I don't say any E words moving into game two.
This is on you.
And we're going to see whether or not KT turns the series around. Time for us to take a short break. When we get back to space, it's going to break that one down, and then we'll have game two. We'll see you there.
다이버 님 노플이고 진 노플 그래야 있다 끝내고 봐야 돼 아지로 잡아야 돼 미드 아지로 내가 밀어내 아지로 내가 매우 한번 볼게 그 아지를 뭉쳐있지 마라 그냥 조용히 봐 오케이 볼 거야 괜찮아. EQ 더블 빠졌어. 아지르 2번. 렐 봐봐. 나 아지르한테 공 한번 넣을게, 얘들아. 천천히 해봐. 끝내면 돼. 타워해줘.
아리 그냥 조용히
알고
아리 믿지 마라.
아리. 아, 죽여, 그냥. 타워해줘. 아지르. 아지르 잡아. 네. 나이스, 얘들아. 맛있다, 우리 바텀. 잘한다, 니네.
So that we're just going to get definitive proof.
Oh, but they also switched sides, so that's another variable.
And also, we like some reason it looked like the Yone was banned first on my screen. So
And also they it's fearless, so they can't pick Nidalee Azir again.
true, which was awful.
So maybe there's more factors at play.
Well, you can see BDD, no big grin on his face this time around. And sometimes when KT are looking serious, looking stressed, things can go horribly wrong. It's often when they're just carefree and happy that
I'll say
bad for the opposition.
for this KT lineup, Peter has been bringing a lot of the good vibes. I feel like BDD has just looked very serious. You know, you'll get like a little smile if things are going well at most, but a lot more serious. Whereas Peter, he's got the vibes and things are going well, so you can't always get too much from BDD's expression.
Blue side Vi.
Yeah, that's.
So
I feel like
Pantheon-
B&K Fearex are struggling now because, like, well, we were going to ban Vi.
Yeah, this kind of looks like the blue side bans are happening on the red side. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, they are just locked into the Vi cluster. So Gwen, Yone, Taliyah. This is the same bans that B&K Fearex had on the other side. Panther's been left open, but they ain't interested in that Pantheon. They want the Rise for BDD.
Look at BDD. He is so busy.
He's doing
right
the classics. Azir game 1, Rise game 2. What, is it going to be TF game 3? No, probably not.
Is there going to be a game 3?
That's the question.
Yorick says no. We'll see whether Yorick is going to be correct.
I think maybe part of this is you don't want to play again. Like, we've seen Rise and Yorick be very popular for playing through sides and maybe not wanting to give both of those over.
Yeah.
Will pick it themselves. Also, the Nidalee top lane is off the cards, as it was played jungle last game. Xin Zhao going to come through, not prioritizing the Pantheon. I think for KT roster, you just take Pantheon here and feel really good about it.
I think so too. And with both Xin and Pant, that's probably why they didn't elect to go for that one, as matchups into Xin Zhao.
Okay, go on
the Trundle, pretty good one, and that is a Jax going to be locked away
Jax.
for perfect. That is, yeah, that
This
means
is like
you're not going to have a very good time.
This is just anti-Raptor composition. This is like they set up the trap for the Xin Zhao and said, okay, we'll steal your AD, we'll counter your order attacks, and I guess Rise will root you as well. That's kind of annoying.
Yeah. So as far as KT versus Xin Zhao is concerned, they're going very well, as Daystar is going to pull a Calyx and lock it in. Okay, well, I mean, we saw this work out in our previous series quite effectively.
Yeah.
Is it just like a good thing now? I don't know.
Okay, well, we think about the last time it was played, last series, and it was into a composition with like a Victor on the back line, and it was 2 carries, and it was like, hey, we get on the carries, we win.
Yeah.
This time you're playing into Rise as a point-and-click route.
Yeah.
Trundle and Jax, who I don't think they're really too afraid of Akali being up in their face, so I'm a little concerned about B&K Fearex's direction in this draft. They have a split pusher, and then they have, you know, 2 Ionian buddies who pretty heavily want to go in. This is not like, you know, sometimes when you have a split push, you're like, hey, let's have a defensive rest of the map so the split push can get stuff done. Nothing about Akali Xin Zhao screams defense. Well, Xin Zhao can be played defensively, but nothing about Akali screams defensive.
No, you're not going to be able to do that. So maybe Daystar is going to be in side lanes. He has certainly spent a lot of the last game in side lanes. Maybe that's going to be the case once again, as Rakan and Braum both taken away from Peter.
Probably this is the Alistar then from KT.
You would expect so. Peter being quite vocal here for KT at this moment in time. They are going to take that one away. Let's see what Diablo is going to lock in. The Ezreal, the only thing that KT were really scared of outside of the Kalista as well, which we often do see prioritized.
I mean, especially if you have a Trundle pillar, you know, you really don't want to be...
Now, Leona, isn't Leona just a bad idea into Trundle because you press Eclipse and then his Subjugate gets him 1 billion stats?
Yeah, not the best strategy, ultimately. Also, into Jax. Jax, very annoying as Leona to peel because you Q him and he just counter strikes.
Yeah.
So, also, Leona not so hot into Poppy.
So I'm going to say that the Leona seems a little face planty. But the Poppy hasn't been locked in just yet. The Ashe is going to be the first one taken, and Peter can take Renata if he would like to, but the Poppy just does feel very, very strong.
Yeah, I think Ashe Poppy's good here. You know, Ashe might feel at times a little vulnerable, but
can we go back and have a little bit of a check-in on how Akali's feeling in this composition?
Not so hot. You know, B&K FearX, at least won game 1, but I'm not feeling so positive about their odds in game 2 right now.
That's my analyst's search for some positives. Hey, they won the last game.
Yeah, so they have like this dive-focused composition plus Yorick, right? And if I'm playing Yorick, and I'm like, hey guys, give me some space, I have pressure, I'm going to push this wave and pressure this tower, I don't want to be hearing my team saying, go, 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 we're all in.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just me.
No, I don't think you ever want to hear
Whereas
that.
KT have this composition where you have these backline carries, you have 2 champions that I kind of deem as anti-melee champions, like but get into melee range of Jax and Trundle is not fun, and they just have great disengage. It's very hard to dive onto this KT lineup, so I feel like the 4-man of B&K FearX is going to struggle, and then you have Yorick, who I guess has to solo the game. It feels like I don't see the cohesion. I don't see the direction.
I don't quite see it either. But I do see KT trying their very best to get back on the horse, and we'll see whether it does actually work out for them. Maybe getting their sillies out in game number 1. As B&K FearX obviously wanted to get their players over towards Lolly Night as well, you know, so they can have a chat and stuff like that. It's an important day to find a victory. Also, if you come off the LoL Park stage and you don't have to play again for at least a couple of days, certainly feels good to come off the stage with a victory. So Sunday's games often feeling that little bit more important. And this could be a difficult time for B&K FearX. They may need to put in some work in another game as well. Let's dive into the Rift for game 2.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, under the Rift for game number 2. KT just not looking very good at all in game number 1, and we're expecting that to continue moving into game number 2. We are going to have a slight pause, as we'll see exactly what has gone wrong. Hopefully it's not a cup has spilt situation.
Oh, no.
The most bad, it is probably a peripheral issue.
Yep.
Seen that one before. Having a look now, we can see that there is a ref hanging out over on KT's side. It looks like BDD.
No one stood up,
bit of
so
an issue.
It looks like it isn't toilet issue.
No, it's not a toilet issue. Maybe it's a Dr. jacket issue, because he has
Still
placed
cold.
that one back on again. I don't know how he's cold.
I assume that it just must be colder towards the stage.
Yeah, maybe the hot air rises situation, we're up a little bit higher here at LoL Park, does make some sense.
Maybe it's just like the aircon's directed towards the stage primarily, you know.
Can you please break down these stats right here?
So as you can see, there is a game lead for B&K FearX, but in terms of turrets, both teams have, well, KT Rolster has 0 and B&K FearX is 0. Oh, I can't see the rest of the stats, sorry.
Oh, so they took away all of those very, very important stats.
Yeah.
As they also took away the pause. And so we're back into the action once again. The action is a bit of a defensive setup here. As Diablo, young player, but still rocking the Jackie Love skin. You love to see it. Peter going to move in. As Kellen throwing out the Poro.
You can see Peter just wants to flash. You know, he wants to Hex Flash. He wants to see the angle. A nice invade here, though. Normally, though, I'd say even when a composition is rough, if you find a way to get an early lead, it's hard to find a composition that doesn't feel better with an early lead. Pretty much every composition. Getting ahead early goes a long way. So we'll see if B&K FearX can navigate something in and punish KT for this aggressive move in the level 1.
BDD is going to be able to slow down Daystar, even sidesteps the 5-point strike, which is kind of important. As this is a pretty impatient Sentinel. Kellen's going in as he gets lit on fire. There's that flash you were talking about. And first blood goes to BDD. The win becomes lightning, such high value, as it does so much damage to all of KT. But still, they will be able to get their prize and then some.
Yep. End up finding that angle, and you just knew Peter was looking for it, and now he has Hex Flash unlocked. He wanted that window.
He's even more deadly.
Yep, so they get an early kill onto the Rise, which feels fantastic. Especially when Rise has so many like early pickups he wants to get, like the Tier, like the Catalyst, and then later on the Roa. So nice little boost there you will absolutely take. And the nice steal from Cuz as well on the blue buff.
Yeah.
That's 5-0 for BDD on Rise so far. Not in the game, in terms of games so far.
And it was the B&K Fearex former mid laner that was the one that had the other undefeated streak on the Rise that did get broken. It's now a chance for Daystar to get revenge on the other Rise guy.
Yeah.
By giving him a loss here. But BDD, so far, looking like he doesn't really want to lose. And Cuz is also 2-0 on the Trundle as well. So certainly some comfort picks here for KT as we get into it. 800 gold going to be the resulting lead here at 3 minutes. Nothing to scoff at, but no real resets coming on through. And so not going to really change what these lanes are going to look like, which right now, looking relatively even. Having a look here towards the top side, Perfect. Just having fun with his Counter-Strike. Even stuns the Ghoulies.
Yep.
And going to be able to get a whole bunch of extra money as well by taking those out.
Capitalizing on it, you know, taking advantage, the Ghoulies.
But
yeah, I mean, this is the problem with this game a little bit. Top lane, I mean, Yorick can definitely contest a bit more, but mid and bot is just going to be,
Okay. Counter-Strike is going to stun him up, but he just leaps out of the Ghoulie wall, which isn't much of a Ghoulie wall with this skin. Kind of makes me sad.
Yeah.
This is like the TFT Yorick. As, all right, Morning Mist is going to connect there as the Ghouls do get mad.
BFX is burning a lot of mana in these trades.
Yeah.
So not going so well early, but mid and bot is where generally KT's going to have a lot of prio they can play around. You see, though, BDD's just gone for a reset. We'll spend that extra money and pick up a Tier and a Sapphire Crystal and some boots. And Carly early on, not the most fun to play into most champions, if I'm going to be honest, but Daystar's been keeping up in farm.
Yeah, doing well as far as that is concerned. Kind of surprising, especially with what we were seeing in the early stages of the lane. Honestly, if you're a Rise, though, you're not really too worried. And didn't actually have to blow the flash, did Daystar, or anything like that in the initial fight. And so he's going to be okay, even if it was BDD that gets first blood. Should be able to use that Shroud to keep himself pretty safe. It was Raptor that had to flash. And thankfully, he's the jungler, so he's just able to keep himself in the fog of war.
Yep. And I think if Raptor can find some early angles to punish, you know, Perfect's often trading heavily, he's getting pretty low. BDD is a mobile, you can get a gank onto him. All good things that can start pushing the pace of the game in favor towards you. But for now, things pretty slow.
Yeah.
And it is a big lead in the bot lane, is something to note.
Yeah, that's a massive one as well. Doctom has actually played some pretty good Ashe games more recently. I feel like it has been a big champion for him, as that cannon I don't think was picked up by Perfect.
Yeah, Perfect also kind of just walked up to him and let him hit him and proc grasp, but then walked away.
Yeah.
Very generous, but not very ideal. Top lane match have gone pretty rough for Perfect, and now Raptor's coming in.
Yeah.
The Burrow has ult too.
It's not looking like it's getting better here, as he does leap to the back of the minion wave. But it does mean this whole wave is going to just get destroyed. Cerberus getting a little bit more as Daystar down to 100. BDD putting on the counter pressure here for KT. Top side of the map is a big problem. No teleport out or back yet. Okay, is that just the solo kill? No, it's not. Not quite yet. He goes into the Shroud and pops back up again. Flash still up here for BDD. So Daystar knows that he just has to get out. Going to be first Dragon going over to KT. Next one going to be a Hextech Drake. I hope you're paying attention there.
Doing my best.
Please, Orcs.
One of the concerns, though, if Ryze gets strong, Ryze is pretty comfortable in the side lane.
Yeah.
So, you know, yes, Saboro getting ahead against the Jax is great, is what you're looking for. But the fact that they have someone else who's pretty serviceable in those side lane scenarios feels really...
Oh, can it get on them? Oh, perfect.
I would have leap strike to it. I'm not
Oh,
gonna lie.
me, 100%.
If it killed me,
like he didn't
you know
even
what?
Look at it.
That's just a price I'm willing to pay.
Yep.
Let's get the extra gold from the ghouls, though.
Well, you can see the Maiden getting a little bit mad at Perfect here, as we're looking at Orcs paying attention.
I was leaning back a little bit, and I'm being judged for it, you know?
We just need to make sure that we get this camera up when the next Dragon is going to be taken, okay? That's what we have to do. Keep him locked in. We've already had one Chemtech Soul, okay? We don't need another one today. There's plenty of drag.
The quota.
Yep. Stockdown.
Well, you know,
Canceling
if
some autos there a
today
little bit.
ends up being a 6-game day, do you know how many different dragons there are?
6?
There you go.
Oh.
So one of each. That's
No, we've already had 2 Infernal Souls.
well, that's not my fault.
No, Infernal Soul's not your responsibility, but we cannot have 6 unique ones today.
Yeah, but as long as I'm meeting the quota of 1 per day, 1 per 6 games, then
Completely allowed. Yeah, yeah.
100%.
We will not be too mad. 257 health for the Maiden as she makes her way back towards Sobera. Unfortunately, that 50 gold is going to go wanting there. Perfect really wanted to pick that one up. And Sobero is just Yoricking.
He's having a good time. You know, this is probably the best case win con for B&K FairX, and
so far, it's doing what it has to do.
Yeah.
It may need to do more than that, though, as Daystar's going in. Kellen coming on over as well. The 5-point strike just looked a little bit sad, as Kellen, that one looked a bit sadder. He flashes for it, and Sobero is just coming, looking for the kill. The goalie wall blocks BDD, and he gets cut down with the perfect execution. And you can see BDD in the player cam there, not really happy about how that one went at all. Great answering pickup there for B&K FairX.
BDD felt like he'd calculated every single variable in that situation. He's like, all the CC down, time for me to Realm Warp out. And the Ghoulie Wall comes in clutch.
They're teleporting in, though. They do not want to give away these grubs. Diablo's making his way over. Kellen doesn't get the Zenith Blade to get in. There's Doctom. He's cleansing, but the Killer Instinct from Diablo will be able to shut down the Ash. And now BDD comes through, but just the dregs of a fight. And Kellen, he's able to walk it off. He gets himself out.
Will they find him? I guess not.
Nope, he's out of there.
Sneaks away. Some good picks coming through for B&K FairX.
Really nice. Oh, man. Oh, and that would have got him too. Big shame. So KT down about 800 gold as a result of that play. The grubs were not all secured. It was just one of them that B&K managed to collect. They do have vision on this, but it is not going to be something that they're going to contest. So that will be 2 objectives going over to KT in the early stages of the game as Sobero, he comes on over and is just looking to get rid of him, and he puts down the Ghoulie Wall and knocks him out.
Yeah, that little shunt saving the play, otherwise BDD would have gotten out. And it's not the ability you expect to have a Realm Warp cancelled by.
But it's also funny because it not only CC'd the Rise, so it cancelled the Realm Warp, it also knocked him out of the Realm Warp.
Yeah.
Ah, it's very cool. It like only had to do one of those things.
And it did both.
And it did both.
It's just a very versatile ability.
Indeed.
A lot of terrain, well, I say a lot, 2 pieces of terrain generated by champions in this game. We have the Pillar and the Ghoulie Wall.
The Pillar is feeling a little overpowered because you can't hit it to knock it down.
Yeah, but also it blocks allies and enemies, you know, whereas the Ghoulie Wall only blocks enemies. But you have a Poppy, so you can slam people into the Pillar.
And you can't slam people into the Ghoulie Wall. Wait, can you?
No, because they don't, it's not terrain for...
But like, it's terrain for Peter.
But it's...
How does it work?
No, I'm pretty sure you can't.
That's a cool, like, idea of an interaction.
I feel like you'll just knock them through it.
Yeah, would you? Is that how it would work? Because, like, it is a wall for Poppy.
Yeah, I think you would just knock them through it.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it's a wall for Poppy, but it's not a wall for B&K FairX. Another one's being slammed into it, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I think if it was the other way around, if it was Poppy and Yorick on the same side, then I think it would work. I believe.
Once again, down to a 250 odd health. Raptor is looking for this. We'll have to get that cam back up again as this Drake is being taken just to make sure we know what this is going to be. As there's a shuriken backflip. Daystar gets out of the way. Some plates being taken down for BDD as we get in. And there is the dragon secured. It's a mount. You're off the hook.
Okay.
Beautifully done.
I was leaning forwards.
Flashing.
I was sitting forwards at that moment, very intently staring at the screen.
You were. I'm right here watching. That did indeed happen. As Doctom moves in. Raptor. They are going to be able to at least get a plate here. Not going to go for any sort of gank right now, but Diablo will be able to get some more money. As BDD has Realm Warp, and he really wants to use it. You can tell. They want to go for some sort of play here. They need some extra information, though, as BDD moves up. Daystar is here. And they just look to interrupt Kellen. Okay, they're just going to slam him into the wall. Peter does find the angle. The aftershocks go down, and now Daystar should be able to help get rid of this Poppy. He goes in, sees that the Poppy is dead, and then ults his way out again. A 1-for-1 trade of the supports, but KT with good position around this turret. Daystar not having to worry now about the arrow, as Doctum is now just going to go back home, and they get a few extra plates. BDD gets in there for some pot shots. Not too much more going to happen.
Yeah, we saw that pillar slam combo from Cousin Peter, but unfortunately, Daystar is able to burst through the Poppy after the fact. So, even trading chips kill, extra plate for KT, will keep gold dead even right now. BFX having some trouble.
It's not looking a whole lot of fun, as he does get the Maiden. There we go, 50G.
With?
Well, and not if he dies, as there are just more ghouls. And he's just going to have to get out of here. So now Sobro is going to get 2 plates at least from this push. Teleport is there, thankfully, for Perfect. But this Yorick is doing what it's supposed to do, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
And that is stay inside lanes, kill turrets. Doesn't even have Trinity Force completed yet. Perfect does put his together. So that means that Sobro is sitting on the money for it. Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, he should be. I mean, he bought...
He did buy full boots. And
yeah,
there are no shoes on Perfect at all.
Maybe, we'll see. We'll see. We'll find out on this recall.
I feel like we're... Don't you feel like we're going back in time a little bit? Feels like, once again, when you look down, it's just BDD. And then a sea of wealthy bad guys.
Yeah. I mean, some of the gaps are a little small. It is that Triforce complete for the Yorick, so Saburo feeling very good about that one. We do see Cuz moving towards the boss side, but is spotted on a ward.
Yeah, where's the next point of action? When is the next thing going to occur? Looks like it's going to be Rift Herald that's going to be coming up next. So this top side is what we're looking for. Control wards being put down.
Because it's just hovering around bot lane, despite having been spotted but didn't know. You will now recall, but wasn't able to find anything.
Yeah, didn't have a whole lot to take, as it's only his blue buff that is left up at the minute. Raptor is fresh off a reset himself. Feels like he does have a slight tempo advantage on the map right now. Is Peter going to walk over towards Callan? They find one another. As Diablo hit by the volley, and the arrow going to connect as well. An instant cleanse. They do manage to get that cooldown. And Peter able to heroically charge his way out, as now Cuz getting aggressive himself. That's a great pillar as BDD gets in there. Daystar doesn't get the shuriken backflip, and out they go. Callan will be secured. And KT, just a swift teardown of the Leona, and they're back to their ways.
That was a great pillar, as you said, from Cuz, like getting the airtime.
It was also like, so he gets the airtime, but it's also placed in such a way that you push them in the right direction as well. That is so hard to do.
It's flawless pillar work from Cuz there, and in the end, Callan sacrifices himself to let his team get away. Raptor knocked away as Callan goes in. And it's starting to look a little bit tougher in the 4v4 for BNK FearX with the tools that KT have. In the 1v1 though, they're still going strong.
Yeah, still looking very rough for Perfect at the same time. We're seeing a few more blue numbers coming on through though, as now Callan getting pushed towards his former teammate. Another great pillar to come in as Callan, he'd just come out of the death chamber, guys.
This is such a hard game to play Leona because you're in a situation where anytime you step up, there's pillars, there's Ashlows, there's CC from Poppy and Rise, and I mean, I guess Jax if he's ever there, but it's so hard to escape.
Goalie wall, as he gets the ward down, stuns things up as now Raptor is making his way in, and the Maiden going aggressive. Diablo moves down, and Sobro is not going to die. It is going to be the Rift Herald secured on the other side of the map for KT. But it is going to be first turret. Oh no, it's not first turret actually, so we won't get feats of strength just yet. KT had already taken down the turret on the top side. I tell a lie. And secured feats of strength for themselves with their extra objective that they just locked down in the Rift Herald.
Yep, so it really does feel like it is Yorick against the world right now. I mean,
isn't that exactly what the composition was, though, Orcs? Like, maybe this is exactly what it's supposed to be.
This is just what it was always going to be. But they will be able to pick up this dragon, unless KT can get in there. It's 5,000 HP. Cuz is trying to charge in.
And the Pillar Man can actually get a bunch done here with the fact that it is the Mountain Rift whole bunch of extra terrain is there, as it is Raptor securing the dragon. And now Cuz could be in a bit of trouble. He subjugates though, and stays alive for a long time. Doctum trying to get that damage down. It's perfect. He needs to be with Doctum. He does find the kill, but it's only onto the Leona still. Perfect's in there with full health. And Daystar getting some work done on the back end of the fight. BDD still alive, but it's actually BNK FearX that win the fight and get the dragon, and Sobro is in a side lane.
They didn't TP the Yorick in. They know what they're doing. They just let him split push. And in the end, KT full prey.
How did that go so well?
I mean, I think it ended up in a situation where Akali just got some pretty great target access.
Yeah.
So we see it going in, and I think Cuz ult Raptor here.
And so it's 4v4 at this stage.
I think if he'd ulted the Leona instead with like the Aftershock clips, could have actually gotten a bit more value. But then here, Diablo manages to get away. Daystar comes in and just does so much work and able to dip out again.
Oh, that was so sexy.
The Akali value here.
Oh, gets in, gets out.
Doesn't even need the rocket.
나 여기 지를게, 여기 지를게.
Or flash.
And then manages to slow them down as well. And makes his way out topside. Really beautifully done. And a 5v4 that was won there by BNK. On top of that, they also get the smite. So they are one away from a Mountain Soul point as well.
I mean, here's the crazy thing, right? Daystar is 1,200 gold behind BDD. After that fight, he's now 3-0-2 and he's still that far behind.
It's kind of
And yet he was able to make that impact. So really getting value on this Akali pick. Herald's going to come down mid.
Yep, should be a turret, as BNK not going to be able to take, not going to be able to defend that one. Speaking of not defending stuff, Sobro is just able to push this wave in, and there's no one there to catch it. Looks like now BDD is going to make his way down.
This might end up being the strategy, having BDD answer. Oh, they're actually all going down here.
Yep, Gully Wall comes in. He's just going to Realm Warp his way out of it. Cuz comes through one more time. Has a very spooky pillar, and Sobro is just going to get destroyed. Nothing they can do about that one, as Raptor is going to get hit with an arrow. It looked like he didn't even really notice as he goes back in. Doctum is executed in an instant, and they'll take the outer turret at the same time. BNK just trading up.
Yeah, and Doctum just no reason to step up there, right? He felt,
Yeah.
oh, I've got Jax with me. They're not just going to kill me. Why not? You're an Ashe. You know, you're only really able to ward off enemies if you have the Trundle, if you have the Poppy with you. They're your peel, not a Jax, and they kind of just decimate Doctum in a moment.
Yeah, there's nothing he could really do. KT are now going to be able to find this outer turret on the bottom side. That's going to even out the turrets here momentarily. But that is the hull breaker now completed. BDD probably could have gone for a longer Realm Warp perhaps, but maybe didn't want to give Sobro any options on where to go, and ultimately the result was dead Yorick.
I think just because he knew he had Cuz coming around the corner, he was fine. But here, there's just, I mean, the tower's dead.
Yeah. And he put his only defensive thing on cooldown in order to do a bit of damage. Ultimately not find too much more. So that was probably suboptimal, we're going to say. With the benefit of hindsight, of course. 1,000 gold is going to be the resulting lead here for BNK FearX, as Daystar up with full vision control of this Arakan. And he will just pick up this wave. Raptor moving on up, and you can see this topside vision actually kind of nutty for BNK FearX. They know exactly what's going on. It might be they will be able to get a bit of an inroad towards this Arakan, which is looking like it's going to be the next port of call, the next point of contention on the map here between these two teams.
I mean, we now have Sobro with Hullbreaker Triforce in the side lane.
Yeah.
You know, we got 2 item spike just coming in from Diablo. Daystar's approaching his. BNK FearX are getting pretty scary. And if they're able to take out Doctum, I just feel like KT are going to flounder a little bit.
And, like, it's happened once again, where Kellen is kind of feeding. He's got 5 deaths, but it means everyone else's scorelines are looking fantastic, right? You know, they're starting to stack up these bounties, things like that. And KT, if they are able to win a team fight, it could look good for them. But BNK, I mean, they just lose their Leona every fight and don't seem to worry about it.
Diablo playing confidently there, threatening Peter, getting him, chunking him out.
Yep, he's got 2 items now completed with the Kraken and the Rage Blade. So he's feeling pretty good. We're still waiting on the Infinity Edge for Doctum, or he's going to do some relevant damage. And now 7 seconds on Mountain Soul Point, ladies and gentlemen. This is so important for KT to win a fight around this, or at least get that smite, keep themselves in it. Sobero is just going to make that an impossible choice. As this inner turret goes down, my god, he does so much damage.
Yeah, he just smashes that. And now able to move over towards the Dragon.
Yeah.
Likely to join this fight if they need him.
Solar Flare going to connect onto the Poppy. There's the Void Seeker as well. Good steadfast presence denies the entrance there from Kellen, as the arrow is going to connect onto the Yorick. BDD able to now just machine gun the spells on top of him, and he does finally manage to lock that one down. Now Raptor, we're getting so much value out of the ulti. He goes back in. The killer instinct from Diablo is exactly that, and he is going to get pillared and taken down. KT finally getting themselves a decent team fight. Daystar surviving. But the main thing is, KT will be able to deny this Dragon.
Honestly, BNK FearX, lucky didn't get aced in that situation. Daystar and Kellen so low HP to get away from that one, and KT were hunting for more. We'll see how the fight played out. And ultimately, this is where we start to see the issues of BNK FearX on the 5v5. Hard to engage here because of the steadfast presence. And then the turnaround, this arrow from Doctum gets so much value, catches the Yorick. BD moves forwards and just puts focus on him. We see Perfect jump onto Raptor and Kellen, and at no point do they really find an easy time approaching. Eventually they jump in, but it's on a Perfect, who's not really that valuable. It's on a Peter, who again, he's done his job, and the rest of KT are just marching forwards.
Yep, this time Cuz doesn't get focused down immediately and destroyed. He's also got Spirit Visage now completed, and I mean, yeah, there's a Bramble Vest, I guess, on Kellen, but otherwise there is no heal deny. And so the amount of healing this Trundle does in fights is disgusting. Yeah, especially if he starts kind of pseudo-resetting with the King's Tribute.
Yeah, you can get so much health off that, and it can be really frustrating if you've been focusing him down and then a kill comes in. BDD, by the way, 3 full items.
Yeah.
And a large rod.
Yeah, and the other rod, the one of ages, that has now given him an extra level.
In fact, he's about to be level 16, and that is such a huge spike.
Oh my god, he's going to be that's 3 levels ahead of Daystar.
Look at the farm. I mean, even when Daystar got those kills in that fight, he was still down 1,200 gold because there was such a farm difference.
Yeah.
BDD has farmed up a Storm right now, strongest champion in the game, and
well,
looking for Raptor.
His Realm is going to walk him in towards Raptor here, who does have to use his Crescent Guard, but still does manage to use it, get himself to safety. Daystar's teleported in at the same time.
Why is the burrow here, can I just say?
Well,
this is, okay, so I'm going to explain this pretty simply. This lane we're looking at right now,
yes,
the mid lane.
Got it.
Okay, if you look on the map,
wait, so
there's
is that because it's in the middle?
Yes, it is actually.
Oh, thank you.
That's one of the reasons it was named that.
Oh, wow, okay.
So the Yorick,
I thought it was named after that team Solo Mid. I thought that's why it was called mid lane.
You know what, don't interrupt me.
my apologies.
You know what, I don't want to get into that now, but
okay.
Yorick shouldn't be in the mid lane. He should be in the side lanes. There's 2, one top, one bottom. That's where he should be. But instead, they're bringing him into the mid lane, and I'm not feeling good about that.
Well, he's now in the mid lane still. I thought he'd moved to the side lane, but he hadn't. I was listening to the lecture. I thought he was too. He did not. Now he's moving up the river towards Arakan.
Maybe he's just scared of Ryze. I mean, he didn't have TP. Maybe that was the reason they're a little concerned they go for Baron at Arakan. But this feels a lot of grouping with oh, they're going to start it, aren't they?
Oh, and this ward is just out of vision range of that control ward as well. These minions are here at the same time.
You think you're covered by the control ward. They started up.
I mean, there was a minion wave. The minion wave told them exactly what was going on.
That doesn't help either.
Yeah, Cuz coming on over. And the Arakan is down to 50% health. Cuz is nowhere near, but they go for the turn. They look for Perfect, who will just get chomped down and destroyed. BDD now trying to find his way in here as Daystar is chasing after him, but he is keeping BDD out of the fight for the moment. The Maiden is going to be taken down and the Arakan resets. 37 seconds on Perfect. They've still got some time with the man advantage here on BNK's side, but instead they look for the pillars. Raptor is going to use his ult so effectively, but it's ultimately not enough, as Cuz is just chomping them all out. The flash forward, and he kills Diablo for a triple. Still, it's only Doctom left alive, and these solo laners are going to try and kill Arakan as Daystar is almost dead. Okay, Doctom.
Maybe they don't go
walking back to mid lane, and yeah, they don't go back to Arakan.
What a crazy fight, though. You know,
that
BDD
was insanity.
Trying to go hero mode. Yeah, so Perfect doesn't press his E in time. Raptor had the knockup stacked up from the Arakan, so that was a great play from him.
Oh, he actually pressed E too much, I think, and popped his Counter-Strike too early.
Oh, that's unfortunate. But so we see KT approaching here. PD gets his stun on the Raptor. His ult's back up though, so PD has to walk in to finish him off.
Yeah.
Doing tons of AoE.
In the meantime, Otacon.
And then he goes for the Realm Warp, realizes he can't finish. If this had been the old Rise, you could have done that combo. Fine. He would have been out. And in the end, they get cleared up. Soburo just kind of, he's hanging around, hitting. You
say cleared up. I reckon they get Sobero'd up. That's what this team does now.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a dad. I need practice.
You've been practicing your whole life.
He was ready with the perfect call as, oh, wow. Perfect jumping on top of Raptor here. The Baron's getting involved. They need to have like an NPC in every fight as the arrow is going to hit point blank. Raptor throws down the ulti. Void Seeker doesn't find the mark. As okay, we are just going to have both teams backing away. This is just turning into a brawl.
Dragon's up in 15 seconds, so now we have 3 pretty important objectives on the map, which just means we're going to have a slugfest in the mid lane. What other choice is there at this point?
That's how it's going to go. The Jax has got the memo where side lanes exist. Soburo needs to figure that out himself. As all right, the Mountain has come on in as oh dear. Kellen probably didn't want to land that. As, he's going to go down very, very low. Hasn't died just yet, but BDD will find it. The Dragon was started here as the world's smallest Realm Warp is going to deliver KT right on top of Dom took it. I have no idea why. Still, Soburo getting amongst it. The goalie wall is so strong. BDD goes golden, but it means he doesn't have the damage. And now Daystar is put in the Rune Prison. He goes golden himself, but he's buying time for his teammates to come over. And Peter is going to get taken out. BDD is throwing cues towards Cuz, but they're not going to be hitting onto B&K, so they'll get Soul Point. And this game has devolved.
Look, sometimes if a strange blue man asks if you want to take a ride with him, you say no!
Yeah, you definitely say no.
You know, this was going so well for KT. Like, Kellen just kind of dies here. Peter doesn't even steadfast presence. He's like, you want to go in? Sure.
Okay.
I'm fine with that. And then BDG just walks up and finishes him off. And then I just want to just watch.
This is the moment. We need it slowed down. We need Celine Dion.
The thing is, it wasn't accidental. This was a decision. Yeah. This was a choice.
Unless he was looking elsewhere. No, he didn't, because he moved back. Like, I don't know, man. That was a silly Billy maneuver.
He moved in, and it felt like he was saying, I'm ready.
Yeah.
He was not ready.
He was not ready. He thought he was ready. There's at least that.
I can take it.
Also, this was so sick. Holds off on the Shuriken backflip as well, realizing that he's not going to win that 1v1 with Cuz. So just clean play, 5-0-5. And yes, he's about to get Flame Horizon, right? That is happening. He's still 3,000 gold behind. But it doesn't matter. If you kill everyone in every team fight, it doesn't matter how much money you have.
Look, I feel like there's a lot of concepts in this game. We often talk about things like farm and side lanes and you know, I don't think that stuff is relevant right now. This is just, we're gonna punch each other and whoever gets knocked out first is a loser. So that's how this game feels right now.
Yep, that basically sums it up. And the best part is we haven't even like hit a soul yet. This game could be going on forever. Because we could hit maximum dragons. We need KT to win a pseudo skirmish before the next Drake fight. It's nothing to really win them the game, but they managed to get themselves the Drake.
They might steal and then lose the fight.
Yeah, something like that. As this side of the map is a scary one. Raptor is going in though. They're starting up the Otacon. Has certainly been many a team's demise. And KT, we know they can get in there at a moment's notice. Hopefully Doctarm is not going to take the Realm Warp as they just get rid of them. Cuz comes on over and just says, thank you very much. Peter with a glorious keeper's verdict. And the verdict is in. B&K FureX, you are staying here for an extra game, is what Peter says.
Just sneaks in, gets the massive ult, easy smite for Cuz, no contest.
Isn't it cool though? Like comes around the corner, this little yordle's like,
and you know what?
And then you're gone.
Maybe you don't need to win a fight to get the objective. I will say though, Mikhail's just picked up for Peter, and Rabadon's 4 BDD is a big spike. But yeah, I mean, this was so good. You see Kellen trying to stop him. The stun is just a split second too late.
Yeah, that's insane, actually. It kind of looked like Peter had a Banshee's Veil or something with how close that was.
Yeah, he got the animation in just in time. And KT will say thank you very much. But still things are tense because there is that Baron up and available, and there's a Dragon Entombment. We ain't stopping, you know?
No. And KT are going to have to keep their foot on the gas, right? Because B&K always have the Yorick situation. Thank you very much, observers.
Can I just say how crazy it is that Daystar's 505 and 3,000 gold?
Yeah. He only just completed his third item, and BDD just built a Rabadon.
This is textbook like a Carly in your solo queue game.
Oh,
Although
yeah.
she'd probably have 100 less CS and 10 more kills.
Yeah. And also have like way more money, because like all the kills are on like units that gave a lot of money as well.
That's true.
Because it's mainly been Peter that's been falling down. Him and Dr. not exactly having the greatest of games.
You know what champion always get that on as well? Katarina.
Yep.
Always no farm.
Feast or famine. It's either 11-0 or 0-11.
But the farm's always low no matter what. That's
no matter what. It's all right, Raptor looking for an angle, doesn't find it at all as he flashes in. I don't know about that one, but he does get the ult down and keeps himself alive. And there's the keeper's verdict again from Peter. He has decided that he is not losing this game. And another gorgeous pillar from Cuz. This guy's Trundle is so good. Diablo keeping himself alive for a long time. Honestly, his Kaiser has been fantastic, but he's just not the main story. And the Ignite isn't enough to kill Daystar. But it is enough to give KT a Baron, most likely.
We'll be able to move towards that. It's 48 seconds till the Dragon, though, which is sold for BNK FearX. They should be able to shred this down quickly, reset, get over there. BNK FearX. The only problem is they don't have TP and Sobero, and he spawns about when the Dragon does.
Yeah, so
it's gonna
they
make it hard.
should be able to get over there. They're going to go for an instant reset, 30 seconds to get back towards that Dragon Pit. They should be able to get there. Some vision still available here for BNK FearX, and they will be able to push out this top wave. We might still see a potential fight for this, but we're going to have a look at this fight one more time as look at Peter's ulti. He's really got his eye in these last couple of skirmishes.
Yeah, Raptor trying to catch BDD, doesn't really find it. BDD positioning in a really solid way, and also has that Zhonya's, but the ult there, so much value from Peter. And this time, the Realm Warp, I think it's the correct move. You know, Dr. isn't in it, but I think it would be fine if he was.
Yeah, he was actually still right next to them, so it was totally fine. Soul point for both teams, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it's fantastic. This is going to come down to an Elder Flip. I can almost guarantee it. This Baron, it's not going to be enough to get KT any sort of inhibitor turrets or anything like that. We're going to have some skirmishes. BNK are going to be able to find an angle, and then one of the teams will kill the Dragon. The Soul is not going to mean the end of the game, though. We're going to have to wait. Diablo broke.
That's not good.
Did he? No, he didn't break it. That was Zhonya's, as he's got almost his full build completed.
Still being on cooldown, not ideal.
Absolutely not. Could have been worse, and instead it's now just bad.
Yeah, so we'd have to try and stall out and play defensive against this Baron. You know, for the team who had all that split push pressure, it's now BDD in the side lane.
Oh, the maiden!
Oh, no.
Oh, you must protect your maiden, Cerberus.
Yeah, well, BDD in the mid lane, sorry, who's applying all that pressure with the split push. And Cerberus is just trying to help clear these waves, and they're struggling. And remember, Peter has ult, so if he knocks some people away, they can just take structures.
Yeah, and they didn't even need it. As maybe it's not my storyline that I was looking for. I honestly did just want as much League of Legends as possible.
Because there's even body blocking.
Yeah, as there's the flash in from Kellen. BDD just says no, and so does Peter! Oh, Diablo is just left with his pants down, ladies and gentlemen! The turret is going to be taken out. Daystar, he's in his shroud, but unfortunately there is no good place to go as the Realm Warp brings KT, and Dr. He takes it this time, and this time doesn't instantly die. That is character development, ladies and gentlemen, and that is us getting delivered to a game number 3, a 6th gamer. Here on this Sunday, there is no cringe to be found. Daystar goes gold, and he looks a little bit flashy, but he still loses the game.
It was always going to be a 6th gamer. We knew it in our bones.
Oh, yeah.
And KT answering back, taking us to the last game. You know what? Pete had a phenomenal game.
Yeah, and the fan sign meta is honestly, it's become ridiculously good.
It's so good. We've really amped it up.
It's very impressive.
Obviously, BDD on the rise had a massive impact, did so much that game. 100% deserves a lot of credit, but I feel like Cuz with the pillars also doing a lot of work. But Peter, the ults, the steadfast presence, I mean, you know, Peter, he's not a new face to the LCK. Obviously, didn't go down to challenges for a bit, but you know, we were always a fan of his when he was on Nongshim because of the vibes he brought. But he's bringing good play, really good play as well as the impeccable vibes.
This is the thing. If you pair amazing play with impeccable vibes, that is the best player you can ever get. You know, that's the wombo combo right there. And Peter locked in towards the end of that game. Honestly, like at the beginning, he was finding some flubs. Yeah, there was a few of those moments where we saw the pillar heroic charge combo work out, but otherwise he was overstepping in a lot of those instances. And then it was 3 plays back-to-back, and he won them the game.
Yep.
Absolutely amazing stuff from the support of KT, and that does mean that we are delivered a 3rd game. Also, it is definitive proof that curses are real. We are going to go to a short break. When we get back, the space going to break that one down. Chronicler is going to try and rebut me, and we are going to have game number 3. We'll see you soon.
우리 미드 바텀 깼어 이제. 따봐줘. 가이드 간다. 미드로 와줘. 따봐줘. 가이드 동. 미드로 와줘. 클린 줬어. 가이드 공부 알았어. 오케이. 파워 깨졌다 이거. 봐도 돼. 우리 빠졌어. 끝까지 할게. 이거 앞을 가줄래? 나 공복해. 천천히 해. 나 못 느껴. 나 기준 3초 봐도 돼. 요릭. 나갈게. 나 들어있어. 나 택이야. 나 죽었다. 빼고. 라인 들어가 있어. 타워. 라인 들어가 있어. 옴대게. 계속해. 타워 쳤다. 타워 택 내가 됐네. 진짜냐?
Get into the draft here for the final game. The amount of value that you got. Imagine if you got tickets for both of the series today. You could have been here for 8 hours of non-stop entertainment.
Cost per game, you're getting a lot of mileage.
Oh, it's just ridiculous.
That's what you're looking for. I feel sorry sometimes when people come in and it's like just a quick 4-gamer, you know. They're kind of getting a little bit ripped off in comparison.
Yeah, that's what I feel like too. Maybe you get like a voucher for the PC bong that's like just around the corner. That would be good. Consolation prize.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, your team just wiped out the other team in like an instant, twice in a row.
I feel like Gen G fans got a lot of those.
Yeah, they would get a lot. There'd be a lot of PC bunk compensation going over there. Okay, we do have the Yone and the Scion banned once again. Kalista and Vi, all of these have been banned every single game outside of the Scion, which came in game number 2.
Yeah, it was KT who banned it that time. Now being K4X who are banning it.
And it might be because of the Nidalee situation being removed. And so you don't have that Nidalee answer anymore. And so perhaps you just need to ban the Scion. I don't know. That's my guess.
Potentially. Talia likely going to be the 3rd ban here from KT, I would think.
I think so. I think it should be. Daystar, I believe, was a bit of a Talia enjoyer as well.
I mean, he said in the interview his 2 champs are Ahri and Talia. This is the first pick Talia if I've ever seen one.
And wait, imagine it. He just wins on Talia, wins on Ahri, and loses on Akali, and he just is honest.
Yeah.
Because he was obviously Ahri and Talia.
KT didn't watch the interview, so that's on them.
Yeah.
I think you cannot give over Pantheon with the Talia. I think that's too much power. But that being said, being K4X can still go Talia Wukong, which they're pretty fine with.
Yeah, I don't know whether there is any like good way out, unless you put Pantheon in support and pick Wukong as well. That would be weird. Wukong is going to be the choice, though. Oh god, imagine if they just did it. Sometimes you shouldn't put things into the world.
What are they gonna pick? Is it like a Victor angle?
It's a Kassadin angle. It's obviously a Kassadin angle.
Not sure about that one. You could also go like a Galio, potentially.
True.
No pressure to necessarily take it right now, but, you know, we'll see if they opt to pick up his champion. And it could be top lane as well. And looks like they are going towards top lane with the Renekton. A lot of top laners off the cards, so they give that one to Perfect, and it's Pantheon.
It's Talia Pantheon. Like,
not
what?
even a question.
What?
Yeah, and then for top lane, playing into the Renekton.
Oh,
They're looking at the
this is
Xante.
making things look a little bit more fair.
I mean, Xante got a slight buff, wasn't that significant, but I guess they just want a durable top lane. And, you know, we hit on the space, invest in a Diablo. Right now, you have really strong mid-jungle with global pressure. You have a top laner whose only job is to exist and be tanky.
Yeah.
You're playing towards bot. That is the goal of BNK Fearx if I've ever seen one. Now for KT, snapping up the Alistar before the second round of bans is a consideration. So maybe their thought process is, okay, BDD, we've already taken out like the top tier mid laners. There's a wider pool of like the lower tier mid laners, so we're just gonna prioritize support instead. And
I actually love this, right? Because it's 3 people against a zoo so far.
It literally is.
It's very, very cool. KT making sure that I just really hope they can stick to the animal theme.
Xayah Rakan is open.
Xayah Rakan is open, yeah, but so is Pugmore.
Oh, they already have a list. I'm not thinking. Yeah, Pugmore's open.
Pugmore is open.
Mid lane. What animal champions could they have mid lane?
Anivia.
Is a dragon an animal?
I mean, I guess.
They're gonna have a smolder. Anyway, Lulu Banaway I think is pretty heads up. I think picking something like Jinx Lulu would be a strong play here. The MF, they're trying to ban away some of these longer range AD carries who have a lot of pressure from Duck Dam.
Hopefully Cogmore doesn't get banned. The Xayah does get taken away.
No Xayah Rakan for BNK Fearx. I wonder, are you worried about something mid lane like an Annie being brought out? Could maybe be a little problematic. Trying to think what else. I mean, there's Orianna, there's Victor. There's a lot of mid lane options, so they end up going for the center instead. Banning that one off the cards. Just instead have a lot of success so far since the buff that brought it back into the meta. And it's just going to be Ezreal for Duck Dam.
Yeah, and so last pick Kassadin for BDD in this game as Diablo just locks away this Lucian. See what Kellen's going to pick alongside it. The Braum got through the bans
I think
this time around.
Makes sense here. You have like the Pantheon, you have the Talia who can set things up. Lucian Braum, a lot of power. And, you know, Alistar, although he's bulky, all the lane matchup is fine in the Braum. If you get caught by that Winter's Bite, you probably aren't getting out again. But it's a very short-range composition from the side of BNK Fearx.
Yeah, that might mean Syndra instead. You heard, it was just ooze from everyone, and the Syndra is locked in. One of BDD's old favorites. As we have a bunch of animal suggestions. Unfortunately, we ran out of, there were no more animals. It was Ezreal and Syndra, so it was, you know, it was just people. But there are a bunch of other animals against a team full of people on BNK Fearx's side. So maybe the extra animals will help out here. But KT, it feels like an old draft. Like, these champions are not new ones.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a throwback. Whereas on the other side, you know, Xante is pretty new, but the rest of them definitely a bit more old school as well. But, you know, I think there's pros and cons to both of the drafts here, but this is kind of what I wanted. This is what I was looking for. This is more even than I think both of the previous drafts we've had. I think both compositions have strength, there's playmaking potential. I think we are going to have a bit of a closer game here. I mean, last game was pretty close, but I think pretty even in terms of odds, which is what we want. Final game of the 6-game day.
Yeah, we need it to go down to the wire. I want to see 2 Elder Dragons. That's what I want.
We have some questions that we've been...
Is Lilia an animal? Lilia is half an animal.
Yeah.
Or they're a mythical animal, which is like, what is the
Is Nami an animal?
Nami's a mermaid. I don't know whether a mermaid is a...
Is Ahri an animal? When she ults, I don't think ulting changes, but I think that might change.
She does have 9 tails, and I don't know that many humans with 9 tails. Let's get onto the rift and ponder.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, the desperation in the KT fans right now is reaching pretty ludicrous levels.
Okay, so she momentarily turns into a fox when she ults.
Yeah, she's like a 9-tailed fox, though. That's like, that's in the lore, right? Is there, they can transform into a person or a fox.
Yeah, she could turn into an animal, so maybe we would say yes when she turns into an animal.
Yeah.
Nami's a no, Lilia's a maybe.
Yeah, Lilia is a pseudo,
Yeah.
a 50%. Nami's also a 50%. Like, she's half fish.
No, but
that is actually a thing.
Yeah, but
Soraka's 10% animal as well, because she's got hooves. So I'll give that 10%.
yeah.
There's different percentages of animal. Peter,
percentage?
though, he is all animal. That's all cow right there.
Okay. What about Renekton?
Oh, yeah, that's all animal as well. Mainly dinosaur, which is an even cooler version of animal. And
Kellen's having a great time.
Kellen's an animal.
You know what?
He's just laughing a lot.
He's been spamming some emotes today as well.
Yeah.
He's been spamming the Brawl mode, so I think he's vibing.
All right, BDD walks at Daystar, and Daystar isn't psyched about it. There's a lot of low health minions here. We're going to have to get to work on that.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking maybe like the Annie, because Annie can be good into shorter range compositions, but Syndra
Does have an animal as well.
Yeah, Syndra does kind of cover that same role of like, when you're being dashed on by things like Clear Pantheon, you can just scatter the weak and have so much value there. A hard matchup, honestly, hard game for Lucian to play. Diablo needs to be on point. The Space was thinking maybe more of like a Jinx angle, something at longer range, but this is very much a, yes, I can carry, but I'm going to have to work really hard for it.
And the Cassante just hasn't been winning. I actually remember when Zeus locked this in, I was like, man, this is... I don't even think with Zeus playing this that it's a good idea, and it wasn't. Cassante just hasn't found success here in the LCK.
I will say one thing, I didn't see Keen's name down there. But to be fair, Keen hasn't been playing it, which I think says something else entirely.
Yeah, I mean, there would be a W there with Keen on it if he'd actually
but
won
also,
on the champion.
Keen's not picking it, which I think, considering how much Keen Sante likes to play Cassante, I think the fact he's not picking it really says something.
It does.
Oh,
this is saying something about how Daystar's doing.
I don't know how
Raptor
I got
going
to that
to
point.
steal away a blue buff as well as Cuz moving over. Just ignores the Pantheon completely and heads straight towards the Gromp.
You know what? Pantheon's pretty strong, and it's been weird the priority we've had today, because Pantheon and Xin Zhao haven't been proud as much as we've typically seen.
Yeah.
And then we see them, and I'm like, that champion's pretty strong.
And also, the Xin Zhao is the one I feel that took like more of a tap in the last patch. Pantheon, not so much, right? And we were even starting to see, even the patch prior to this one, that Pantheon was finding more success than Xin. And yet, players are really gravitating towards Xin Zhao instead, as Raptor and Cuz are just rotating around, and neither of them really deciding what to do. Finally, the Rift Scuttler is going to spawn, and the Seismic Shove going to go slightly wide. Bone Plating is going to be dissipated here.
Thing is,
BDD.
It works out pretty okay for Raptor, because he essentially gets to keep Cuz locked onto that Gromp and gets to pick up double scuttle.
Yeah.
Because you can now just move over. Don't think Cuz is going to respond. Cuz his camps are respawning, so it's not like he's doing nothing with his time. But Raptor has a full set of camps he can now move through after this.
And there is vision in this river, so KT will have full information about the fact that this double scuttle is going to be secured. Perfect realizing that he has to play a little bit defensively. And Cuz just goes back to farming things out. So not going to be a huge advantage or anything like that, but double scuttle always feels fantastic. This feels pretty good, perfect as well. And man, that Kuldamik actually got so much health back for the Renekton. We can see the next one also working out. And Sobero just getting the Cassante treatment.
What do they do to Cassante, man? He's not the same man he used to be.
He is really not. Do you know what's going to happen if he ever gets buffed back even into pseudo-relevance? Everyone's going to say, how the heck does this champion exist? He's so broken.
Yeah.
Seems to be the only way Cassante can exist.
Yep. He is pretty strong when he gets going, and when he had all those abilities before that did ridiculous things. Bit weaker now, and I think his general laning is just the thing that's taken the biggest hit, so it's much harder to kind of match up in the early levels, which we are seeing.
Well, Force of Will does connect, but the Scat of the Week doesn't really work against Daystar here.
I think Syndra has some of the best ability names in the game.
Yeah, right? So what is it? Dark Sphere.
Yep.
And Force of Will, Scat of the Week, and Unleashed Power.
Yep.
Or the gameplay button, as we like to call it. Because it really is a lot of gameplay that you have to deal with. All right, Callan and Diablo closing in onto Peter and Doctarm. They're looking for the cow. They want some steak because going to move on over. And Peter should be able to make it out. Doctarm, Arcane Shift over the wall, and there is the Warrior Trickster. KT just get themselves out. Peter looking a little worse for wear, but otherwise kind of okay.
Little non-committal from BNK FearX, and an actual mistake there was the overlapping of CC. I think they could have just killed Peter, but Kellen didn't commit the ignite, and the stun from Pantheon.
All right, there's the ulti. BDD flashes away. Seismic Shove would have killed him.
Considering BDD used his ult, and obviously Daystar didn't, not ideal to have been the flash in that manner. But yeah, as I was saying, so I think if they ignited Peter, and the thing is the Braum passive stun came in at the same time as the Pantheon stun, so it kind of overlapped.
Yeah.
I think if they'd managed that better, Peter would have just died, but this is kind of one of the strengths of BNK FearX's composition. Any combination of like support, AD carry, jungle, mid, support, just so strong in these skirmishes. The fact you have the Braum passive, Pantheon who stacks it so easily, Talia who can shove off it, Lucian to stack the Braum passive. It's really hard to skirmish against this team, and that's something I'm a little bit concerned about for KT.
I'm concerned about a few things for KT. Not this top side, though. I think Perfect is the one that is eating the best after the draft. That's helping them stay in it. As far as right now is concerned, no real advantage is being built up. But we'll see who's going to be able to get the Void Grubs or this first dragon. That is going to be a mountain right now. Kellen pulling this wave. And Diablo is going to rotate up. So it looks like the Void Grubs are going to get a bit of a look in here by BNK FearX.
Yeah, imagine KT will just pick up the dragon in response.
Yeah, I think opting out for some early, for the early skirmishes does make a lot of sense into this Braum composition.
You now have the ult available for the Pantheon, so those globals between Raptor and Daystar are there for BNK FearX. Always going to make you question decisions after this point of the game. Are we going to be able to make this play quick enough that they don't come in and combat it?
Well, Soberot looking for a bit of a cue here as he's taking up position here towards the bottom side. We still have Perfect committing to top side of the map, actually, as he is not exactly having a great time, but it's interesting that they have kept him in that position. There's the flash in, the flash out immediately. That's the young man mechanics right there. There's Doctom. He's also going to be able to arcane shift out of the way of Soberot. And the Cassante looking like 2025 Cassante right now. Perfect, wanting to get out of the way. Man, that sidestep was gorgeous from the Renekton, as Cuz is on the Void Grubs.
Yeah, interesting that, you know, obviously they forced the flash from Daystar, but kind of,
if at first you don't succeed, let's go for it one more time. But Sobero comes on over. In comes Raptor, but Cuz is there with the Cyclone. BDD able to get some sidestepping done, but the culling comes through and cuts down the Syndra. First blood going over to Diablo. This is what the space was talking about. This is danger for KT's. Daystar sniped, and Doctom gets one too.
Great ult coming in from Doctom to trade it back evenly. I was going to say, it's kind of crazy KT were able to get that first grub given BNK FearX's bot lane was on the top side. And now, Perfect also making some trouble for Raptor. He's just trying to do the grubs, man. Leave him alone.
Exactly. It's so rude. Kellen is going to be here. That's going to guarantee that these grubs do go down.
I will say, one of the things that have come from this, Doctom pretty far behind in farm. 20 CS down.
Yeah, it's actually kind of huge.
So the swap came through from Diablo. He's really had pace in the lane. He didn't move over initially to help with that play. Was trying to ensure he got prio top. And then they move down. This shove comes in. Obviously, no flash from BDD makes him vulnerable. Does get a good trade onto Daystar, but as he moves towards the river, realizes there's no help there, and he goes down to the Cullen.
Yeah, nicely played as Doctom is like, I reckon he's probably there.
Did you see him go off vision from that ward?
Beautiful.
He had nicers from his team.
BDD. And we were saying that BDD has been a little bit more business focused here on KT. I like to hear him being a little bit more exuberant.
Yep.
So let's see whether that is going to continue as this game goes on. Right now, everything even. 1 kill apiece, 1 objective apiece. As KT were able to get the dragon in that replay. Doctom's still just being annoying here towards Sobero. Sobero pretty happy to absorb the pressure, though, as we can see here. The advantage is about the same on both sides, right? Yep. You've got Perfect ahead by about 10, and you've got Diablo ahead by about 10. But you definitely prefer having your AD carry ahead than a Cassante being a little bit behind.
Yep, that is for sure. Especially, I mean, with the Lucian, it's not like the old Lucian where like one item was such a massive spike. Like Essence Reaver is nice that you don't have the mana cost, but definitely want to pick up. At 3 is really where it starts to take off. Like, you often go Nabori second, so you get the cooldown reduction. That's really nice, but the damage comes in when you have, like, IE third. Whereas Ezreal is that 2-item spike AD carry. Yep. You can be ahead of the curve of him. It always feels so nice. Able to take over the game. And right now, no real objectives on the cards. We do see BNK Fearx leaning up towards the top side, wanting to challenge for some vision here. You see the layer of pings coming out.
Yeah. In fact, I feel like maybe they want to kill Perfect. I don't know what's given me that vibe. It might be all of the people. But they just get a control ward down. That control ward actually potentially saving Perfect's life in that brush there as Peter comes in. I don't know about this one. He's got the Unbreakable Will and just doesn't use it. Finds a Pulverize here onto the Pantheon. They dive on top of him. Raptor is going down solo. The culling is soaked entirely by Perfect. And now Kellen is down so incredibly low. Daystar comes in, he's in amongst 3 people, and he survives! It's a double kill for Diablo as BDD trying to get out of there. He scatters them, but they are not weak, ladies and gentlemen. Daystar picks up the kill, and it looked psycho from the man, but it works out in the end.
The thing is, they focus so much damage onto this Pantheon. Diablo ends up full HP on the back end, pumping as much damage as he can in return. And yes, they get Raptor, but he takes so long to go down. Peter gets chunked out here, so immediately when he goes in, he's gonna have to burn his ult. And Raptor, he doesn't get his E off immediately, but they focus everything. And he does eventually get it off, which keeps him live for a bit longer. Kellen's applying his passive as he can. And already so much chunk AoE damage has been done, and then Daystar flies into the perfect spot just to finish off those 2 kills. They even have the Cassante in to finish off BDD. And the main benefactor of this play, 3-0-1 now for Diablo on this Lucian. We said about getting ahead of the curve. We said about, Kellen.
Dear. I think Kellen is going to have to use the door. He does, and it doesn't do enough. They walk around the door.
Well, if someone was going to face check and die, it might as well be Kellen.
Yeah, sometimes a door doesn't work as well, especially if there is no walls next to the door.
Also, a door can be an invitation, and KT did take that invitation.
True. Well, Kellen's dead, but I mean, he's been dying a lot this series. It hasn't really mattered too much. As Perfect back towards his top side.
I feel like this week in general, supports have just been dying a lot. It feels like they know their role.
Yeah.
Taking inspiration from Barrel, of course.
Yeah, he really is the benchmark for support play across the world, let's be honest. As all right, Diablo and Doctarm set up once again here in this mid lane. Very different matchup to the Jhin Varus that we were seeing in game number 1, which I'm pretty happy about because that was just sad to watch. Diablo looking like he was making Doctarm's day very, very rough. But this is also looking a bit rough as Sobero, his health bar is just a bit large and he has that Thornmail done. Perfect, unable to do those crocodile things that he really wants, and he misses a cannon. It's a disaster.
They're just stacking up the armor and being a... You know, you got through those early levels, was a bit trickier, but Cassante's still going to scale up and be that super strong tank with so much CC in his kit.
Okay, Perfect. Just going to catch the wave. So, things have calmed down. There's a lot of vision on the map here for KT, so they've at least done some of their homework. Chemtech Dragon, going to be coming up next. It's not going to be a Chemtech Soul. Well and truly off the hook.
The quota was 1 for the day, and we met that.
You've done it. You've done it.
Been working hard today.
We did see for the first time that it came in that you know, you were paying attention as well. So that's just to confirm that it is allowed to have 1. It's just when there's more than 1 that we're like, where is Orcs? What is he focused? Is he paying attention? As Daystar pokes his head out of the brush. Don't know about that one. As he throws down the seismic shove, but it doesn't hit the mark. Doctarm looking for some angles is Perfect. He's level 11. It's Dominus time, baby. Daystar, though, is still alive. Doctarm wanting to get that last auto. He gets in there, but so does Peter. And the knockups from Cuz are massive. Diablo tries to get out, but it does not work. And BDD unleashes the power on BNK Fearx. Sobero doing some of those Cassante things, but it does not matter. That's an ace for KT.
Perfect's angle in that fight was perfect, I guess. Able to come in. The CC had been burned. BNK Fearx didn't have the tools to peel him away. Sobero did his best, but Daystar just overextended here. Walks into Peter, very weird. Clearly was looking towards Doctarm instead, and then Perfect comes in on this angle. And Kellen, he throws his Q at Cuz just at the wrong time, because now no passive on Perfect. it takes Subaru coming into CCM, otherwise Diablo would have been able to. Daystar does get off this Unravel Death before he goes down, but Cuz is able to take out the Lucian in the back end.
And watching, like, so I watched Doctom that entire time. It is so weird that he is the guy that just realm warped into an entire enemy team and died, and then also was the guy that didn't arcane shift over that wall, that was making sure that he stayed in perfect position, didn't get hit by anything, and played out the fight near flawlessly. How does one man have both of those people inside him?
KT things, man. KT things.
Oh, it's nuts. And he also picks up the pedal. Can you ask for more?
It was a big one as well. That's the thing, if it's a little one, you're wrong to not take it, but
oh dear.
It's less of a big issue.
Whoa! Whoa, whoa! Splinter check, 75. Okay.
Yeah. X-Tech Alternator plus Luden's. Luden's so cheap now as well that you get that spikes early, and it's a lot of burst damage to a Cassante who has 0 magic resist in his build.
And that barely even matters that much because Syndra starts doing true damage later on into the game as well. So this is BDD starting to get into the swing of things on the Syndra. Still hasn't really worked the way that we were expecting it to, as now Peter looking to wrap around. Cerberus gonna get headbutted back, and every time these Dark Spheres land, it is looking real scary. And over the wall goes Doctom. They're gonna finish off the turret here as he looks to go all out to get all the way out. And he might be able to do so, but still the turret is gonna go down. And never mind, he's not getting out. Doctom gets the Conqueror proc, and never mind, True Shot Barrage not gonna land. Cerberus lives. And now in the mid lane, the Rift Herald is gonna be thrown down. Daystar on the top side of the map as well. And so it's one turret, first turret blood going over to KT on the bottom side of the map. But 2 turrets going towards B&K, and Cerberus survives.
Pretty nice play there coming out from Subaru to dodge all those skill shots and make them invest more time than KT really wanted to. Freeze up the window for them to take both that mid and top tier 1. And just when the last fight started to push things in favor of KT, B&K Ferex answer back.
And whoever gets the next objective is going to get feats of strength as well. Kind of a big deal as Kellen.
Not again.
No. Oh, dearie me. Oh dear.
You walked over a ward. You even autoed it. You knew it was there. The thing is as well with Braum is, you know what makes Braum really hard to kill? Is that you can jump to allies. So go with an ally so you can jump to them. And also around the corner.
Also, if you're standing in a position where people are hitting you from a specific angle, it's good. And if you get headbutted back after you've put up the directional thing, and then it's hitting you in the soft spot, it's not great. It's okay. Perfect is now the one that's in trouble. He's going to get flung back into the bad guys. As now he's slicing, dicing, flashing away, but he's still dead. And B&K going to be able to grab another kill for themselves. KT, they get one, but the answer is also there on the other side, and I'd argue that losing the Renekton is more important. And now the gold is completely even.
Yeah, dead even. KT have that advantage in terms of dragons, but it's still so close right now. We have Atakan in 45, Dragon in 1:25. Starting to see some item spikes come in. Black Cleaver, 4 Raptor completed.
True Shot Barrage just to scout what's going on here, as KT don't have a lot of topside vision.
What's crazy to look where the gold is, because like, Cuz is 305, but he's only slightly ahead of Raptor in gold.
Yeah, everyone's only slightly ahead.
Yeah, so it's not like sometimes you have games where nothing really happens, there's no kills, and everyone's just even in gold. Sometimes you have games where a lot happens, but like one lane is like 4,000 ahead and another lane's 3,000 down.
Yeah.
But this, it just feels like everyone's
even.
Yeah, a lot of resources on both sides, so...
It's kind of crazy, because the score lines don't necessarily dictate that, right? It's like both junglers are just as fed as each other.
On that graphic, you can see just the same... Yeah, so it really... I said coming out of draft, this felt like the most even draft we've had so far. Feels like the most even game we've had so far, and they are neck and neck right now. And remember, B&K Ferex need to win this if they want to keep their chances of Legend Group and Road to MSI qualifiers alive. If they lose this, they lose access to both of those.
This is huge. And already, dropping a game makes it even more difficult.
Oh, BDD just picked up a Shadow Flame going into this fight, and Doctom now has Triforce and Manamune fully stacked, so KT feel really strong right now. And with that confidence, they're leaning topside. They might be looking towards the Arakan. They're like, you know what? We've got 2 dragons in pocket already. You can have the 3rd.
And it's also just an ocean, so they don't really care about it too much. However, it is feats of strength for whoever takes it down. So that might give KT a little bit of pause as Diablo getting taken down lower. That is Doctum with the 2-item spike that he's been looking for all game. And Scat of the Week going to connect onto Soboro. Man, I keep, like, BDD really makes everyone not look very tanky, doesn't he?
Yep.
It's a lot of damage now that that Shadow Flame is completed.
Remember, with it being Ocean Soul, a lot more brushes and stuff to get control off. You can see the extra on there. For a second ago, Raptor was hiding inside. A lot of things that will just explode you if you face check them, you know? A game with Syndra, Pantheon, Taliyah feels scary.
Yeah, you can see Daystar and Raptor doing it on the other side. As Raptor is going to dive towards Cuz. BDD will find him though, and there's the Unleashed Power. Raptor down so low, the flash forward! And Daystar is also going to die. They thought they were setting the trap, but KT, they spring it and turn it back towards them. Scat of the Week, maximum range from BDD, but Sobro almost manages to make it happen. It's BDD that locks him down in the end. It was almost a cute way out, but in the end, it is going to be feats of strength going to KT. They could get Drake and Artican and out a turret.
And Raptor, a bit of a flub on that one, ends up committing his abilities, uses his E in the wrong direction, and BDD immediately punishes, and now mid tier 1 taken, Dragon taken. That gold lead that was dead even, 2,000 now, and you can see mid-jungle top really where the advantages are.
And, like, I want you to tell me, Ox, which series was closer? This one or the one against Home Life Esports? I think they're basically the same.
Yeah.
And I don't think that is saying anything negative towards Hanwha or anything like that. It just shows that KT plays to the level of their opposition, no matter who it is.
They do.
Whenever it is.
That is their talent. And yeah, you saw there Raptor committed the E when he didn't really need to, and then was just vulnerable to the ult from the Syndra. It was good setup from KT. Ult comes through. And again, a lot of emphasis still on Diablo, but he's not really at that peak point of his spike, and now the game's starting to slip away. 1 Dragon from Soul. As much as Ocean Soul is the highest prio, definitely going to add some value here.
Man, I'm really intrigued as to where we're going to get this next fight as well. We can see 3,000 gold is the advantage for KT. As they look towards Artican. BNK Furex, a lot of vision towards that top side and in that river. And we know that this is a team, it takes more than just a lost team fight to take them out of a series.
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot of potential just to explode someone. You know, I talked about before, face checking into someone could be super costly. Still gonna be the case here. You need to make sure you're playing around it correctly. You have Cuz, who is hard to pick with the Warrior Trickster. You have Alistair, who's obviously a hard target to pick, but now they're looking for Doctum.
Yeah, Weaver's Wall comes in. They do manage to tag him with the very last bit of the Glacial Fissure, and now the Grand Starfall comes in, but Raptor, he gets taken out of position. Perfect, flashes away, and KT are able to regroup. There's a True Shot Barrage. It connects onto the Pantheon, but no one is dead. Basically, every cooldown has been used, but no one is dead just yet. KT moved back towards the Arakan as BDD lying in wait, wanting to stay in the fog of war.
Start TPing in.
Raptor going down very slowly.
They have to look for the fight. Remember, it will shred KT, and KT make the call to back off. This is something we don't see many teams do. Oh no, BNK Furex, no. Now you're tanking it. This is bad.
Yep. Sobro is not going to be as tanky as he really wants to be. Daystar at full health is trying to push away the Renekton, and KT still looking for a fight. There's the stun with the scatter, and the Mystic Shot. My god, the damage is kind of absurd. Sobro not able to find the Q. And Perfect gonna get flashed on here by Kellen towards the top side. We get the full zoom out as Raptors come back. That is the Crocodile going down, but another Raptor is going to fall. And it's Doctum that collects that kill. And now they're trying to burst this one down. They might be able to do so, but the culling comes through. Diablo looking to try and knock them down. Sobro happy to get out of the fight. As now Peter down to 100. The scatter is once again phenomenal. And KT just have that little bit more left in the tank. BNK will be cut down.
Doctum doing so much on this Ezreal, landing Mystic Shot after Mystic Shot. BDD as well, clean with the abilities, and they hold strong.
Okay. Okay, I guess they just can. It's only Daystar.
Plenty of sustain as well with the Wukong, so he'll be fine in this situation. And for a game that felt so even, so neck and neck, it's exploded in favor of KT.
I don't know how BDD did that geometry, by the way. He had orbs in exactly the right positions. The double stun to truly turn everything around. I'm really looking forward to this replay, and here it is.
Yeah, so we see BNK VRX make the decision to move onto the Arakan, and then they look for this play onto Perfect, but Raptor steps up too far. And Flash comes out from Peter, that's how they catch him.
Yeah.
Great moves from him. They managed to get Raptor as a result. And losing the jungler, a lot worse in the situation. And then BNK VRX, why are you still on Arakan? You're getting chunked out. You're setting him up for the smite steal.
Well, Peter's going in. Daystar might be taking a long way out through the Death Chamber, but instead, they look to get on top of Cuz, but he has the Cyclone. He's able to knock them all up into the sky, and KT are now just a steamroller. This roller coaster is going through all the other carriages right in front of them. Kellen's gonna get taken down. It's a double for the Croc. It's a clean ace for KT, and an inner turret will follow. They might even just try and win the game. They got a Baron, they got a lot of damage.
They got time, and a game that felt down to the wire is suddenly KT's completely in control. This is the team who are on that huge win streak. This is the team making a claim to try and stay in that Legend Group. And honestly, if they keep playing like this, they deserve to be there.
They 100% do. They keep that win streak alive. You're exactly right, Orcs. That's the big deal. They also do not want to kill the Nexus before they've killed Kellen another time. However, the minions will do it for them. And KT will well and truly keep their legend dreams alive. And you can tell somewhere DK are sweating. Nongshim also sweating because KT well and truly another contender.
Absolutely, and they had to work for it, right? It was not clean sailing, but I feel like it's a little bit devastating for BNK VRX because they say goodbye to the next stage. This part of the competition, they will not make it to the Legend Group, they will not make it to the Road to MSI qualifiers, which does mean we have our teams for the Road to MSI qualifiers locked in.
There is a Road to Redemption later on.
Absolutely.
As Perfect really starting to get his pizzazz, you know?
I think
we're seeing on camera here.
You know, yes, KT series can be a bit messy, they can be all over the place, but they are managing to just bring their level of play up again and again.
Yeah.
And BDD had a pretty fantastic, okay, the game one was a little rough on the Azir, but the Rise and the Syndra, pretty phenomenal.
Dr. His Ezreal was just incredibly good.
You know
and
what?
It kind of bothers me.
I can forgive him for the Realm War play because it was funny.
It was definitely fun.
But the Jhin and the Ezreal games, she was pretty fantastic. So credit to him on those.
Well, KT are going to be in that Road to MSI no matter what. We're not necessarily sure about placement just yet, but congratulations to them for that one. It's also about Legend Group as well.
I'd say the Jhin game was fantastic. I actually struggled a little bit on that one. I just want to correct myself. But, you know, the Ezreal game was fantastic.
Yeah, the Ezreal, like, it's like he just decided that it's time to lock in now. This is time for me to win.
Yeah.
I have to get alongside BDD, make this one happen. His Syndra looking ridiculously good, actually. I think it took him a little while to get his eye in, but then once he did, those scatters absolutely gorgeous. And KT, they break open the game, and they take down BNK VRX.
Yep, and we're getting to the point in round 2 where things are really starting to align, and we know where teams are going to end up with this day. With this day in particular, things are a lot more locked in.
Yeah, that's what it's feeling like.
And this game was scrappy. We saw some great moments. We saw some not so great moments from BNK VRX as the game went on. I think the mid jungle just really struggled, you know? There was this moment where they focused Raptor and they managed to turn it around and it looks great. And then I think every fight after this, Raptor just really wasn't pulling his weight on the Pantheon. The Alistar value pretty massive, and Cuz doing a lot of work with the Wukong. We've seen the Wukong priority rise to the point where it's sometimes even outstripping the Xin Zhao on the Pantheon, and I think it's starting to get why.
Yeah, and it was the first pick on the red side. They left the Pantheon up, and they just felt like this Wukong was going to be the way. Cuz certainly looking the greatest on it, to be perfectly honest. Like, that was the start of their win streak, was when Cuz was able to get on the monkey and really run amok. Look at this bouncy castle that they put them in as well. Yeah. Cyclone Pulverize is pretty silly.
And I think it's rough because they ended up going for this Lucian for Diablo, and I think he played pretty well, but it's such a hard game to play Lucian.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time you're hitting Renekton or Alistar or a Wukong clone, you're not really getting that much progress. And if, you know, the Mystic Shot flies onto you, that does a lot of damage, and just Syndra existing makes it so hard. So I think it was certainly a challenging game for Diablo. I still think it was very winnable based on the draft, but I think ultimately wasn't able to carry through, and KT just had some fantastic moments. Cuz in great form, BDD in great form, Duckdown bringing it in through the end. And Peter, Peter I think just had a fantastic series and a fantastic couple of weeks.
Yeah, Peter, honestly, like, it was halfway through game 2, he won them the game. And in this game, he played his Alistair. He's been fantastic at this champion, but finding all of the angles here, perfect as well, needs a shout out on the Renekton. He looked brilliant. For me, Duckdown was the POG for game 3, but I have no idea where the votes are going to go as far as POM.
It's probably, my prediction is probably going to be BDD POM. But I think, if we're talking who do I think was best all 3 games on average, I think Peter.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd probably be voting for Peter, even if this number on your screen you see right here is not dictating so. The Alistair and the Poppy performances were game-changing. That was the reason why KT won. And it's kind of nuts. Let's have a look. It's going to be BDD. He played Syndra. It's like, that's the BDD sexy pick.
Yeah,
you have to vote for him.
I think he had a great series. And again, the only game he really struggled in was Zia, and that was the first game, was a loss to it. It's whatever. But I think a lot of members on KT playing well, and it's just, the roller coaster's still going up. It's still going up. It's just going to keep going up.
What they're doing now is they're making sure that it comes down mid-series, so that then they can, keep it on solid ground. The problem with the roller coaster is when it reaches the stratosphere, they just cannot really build tracks anymore.
Yeah.
And so it just falls off, and then it's not on the tracks. So if you keep it coming down, but retain the track situation, it can work.
We're right here on a 6-win streak.
Yeah.
Okay. Road to MSI qualifiers, MSI, winning MSI, it just keeps going in that direction.
Well, we'll just have to see. It's time to have a chat with BDD, though, as the interview is ready and Ji-sun standing alongside for the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Ji-sun for the POM interview translation. We are here joined by BDD after a phenomenal performance, and also who just had his 800th LCK game. And KT Roaster is indeed going up. Now, currently, KT is on a 6-match winning streak. Can you secure the spot at the Road to MSI tournament as well? I'm very glad that we were able to win a very important match for us. It was a 3-gamer today, but it also allowed you to hit 800 games in the LCK. Congratulations on that as well. Please give it up for BDD, everyone. And you are the 3rd LCK players to ever hit 800. How do you feel? It does tell me that it's been a while since I have performed in the LCK. You will not be able to, it will be really tough to surpass Faker's number, but I will make sure to surpass Deft if I get a chance. And your lane opponent today was Daystar. He played a lot more aggressively than expected. How was it facing him from your veteran's perspective? I kind of thought he was a little nervous on stage. Maybe he got the jitters, so I could tell that he's a little, anxious as a rookie. So that's the feeling I had for game number 3, and turned out he played really well in game 3. So I had to focus up, but I think he's a great player. And then game number 1, I think we had a lot of mistakes, so we wanted to make sure to clean up those. Game 2 was also incredibly intense, but you led the charge with your Rise. What role did you feel you needed to play in that game? These days, when I'm playing Rise, I think it's a good champion because it's strong in lane, very stable. Also, he can exert a lot of dominance in teamfight as well, so I wanted to make sure that I can influence teamfight a lot. And in your 800th LCK game, you played Syndra. KT Roaster picked Wukong very early and saved the mid lane pick for the last. Did you consider any other champions? I think a good drafting for myself is getting the champions that I'm confident in and also which is strong in lane. And I thought Syndra would be the best fit to round out our comp. I'm not sure whether I will play Syndra again in the near future, but I'm glad that I was able to win. Well, KT Roasters' next matchup is against Gen.G, who are currently undefeated at 16-0 scoreline. With this momentum, do you think KT can give them a real challenge? Yeah, I can say for sure that we are on a great momentum, but Gen.G is a very, very strong team currently, so we will approach the match as a challenger's mindset. And you and Deokdam will be appearing together on tonight's talk show, Lolly Night. What kind of chemistry should fans look forward to? Deokdam is a very, very funny guy, so you should look forward to his, talks and some fun bits that we prepared. Lastly, any message to the fans who came out to cheer KT Roaster today? Summer is just around the corner. We are, I think, still on the up and up, so we will make sure to keep displaying the best performance possible. And this will be the end of the interview with BDD, and back to the space. Thank you.